Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Correct.
It's a house!
Huh?
Did you hear what I said?
Huh?
Did you hear what I said?
Huh?
There's mosquitoes the size of bald eagles in that dadgum swamp.
Alright, well the camera just kind of has me just zoomed in on my face. It does its own thing. It's like a AI camera that you don't really want. It's crazy. Let's fix these. Yeah, I guess, I don't know, it's still kind of shitty. Is it a mobile home? No, it's a house! Is it a mobile home?
It's a house!
Yeah, that's, that was Alec Murdoch. When he was on a 911 call, and the 911 operator dared to suggest that the mighty Alec Murdoch lived in a mobile home. He freaked out. Right. It's a house, you bastard! Well, what about the killings that went on? Oh, yeah, yeah. No, it's not cold case night. Who said that? Did you read that in the comment on the video? Did you see it in the title of the video? Yeah, I don't know if you saw that or not. Just sure as hell didn't say it in the title, I can tell you that. Let's see. No, we're still going over the files like everybody else. I'm going to go over the one that was in, only half of it was in the video that I did today, and I just wanted to go back over that again with everybody else here. But while you're watching the show, we're getting closer and closer to the end of the month, so if you have the ability to help support the channel with memberships and etc., that would be awesome. You know, we've got the coffees, out there, etc. Yeah, right. Everybody's doing it, but it's I don't even think a lot of them even know what they're looking at. They just regurgitate stuff, and everyone goes, ooh, 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 ooh. But they don't know how to put it into the context of stuff we already know. That's where it's different here. There's a lot of YouTubers out there, by the way, that are like that. They can't think their way out of a shoebox, but they spit out all the cool information, and everybody goes, wow, wow, this is great, but they can't synthesize it, you know? was my wife. I said, hey, I got you a junior bacon, or not a junior bacon, one of those, what's it called? No, a junior baconator at Wendy's. But then she thought I said Jollibee. Have you guys ever eaten at Jollibee's? That's pretty good. You got their spicy chicken. I think it's a little bit better than Popeyes, actually. Hope everyone is having an awesome evening. All right. All right. Well, anyways, let's get started here. All right. These are the ones, there's these incidents, and these are the files I wanted to go over here. Sup 42, 51, 89, 90, 113, and 151, and 108, 122, 171. Alright? Awesome. Yeah, Son of Baconator, that's right. I don't know why I couldn't remember what it was. I think they charged me incorrectly, though. They charged me $7.99 for a Son of Baconator. I think they gave me 2 actual Baconators, even though they kept telling me they were, I don't know. But man, we can't stay at 0 for too long in here, you guys. So currently we're at 0 everything. 0 coffees, 0 memberships, 0 super chats, 0 everything all the way across the board. So if you're out there, we got to have like a smooth stream throughout the show so we can continue. The last week, we've been able to sort of slightly recover from a horrendous first 2 weeks or 3 weeks of the month. So I'd like to continue it moving forward. All right, so here we go. Here we go. Yeah, a lot of their files, they didn't do the OCR recognition. So the ones that you can't upload, I mean, there's no way to search text or anything, so you have to actually put it on there. Hey, welcome, Juju Bean, and Cinnamon Sun Freak, and Chicken Wing. I'm having Marco's Pizza tonight. All right. You put your own stuff on there, too? All right, on November 13th, 2022, I was directed to interview potential witnesses in regards to the incident at 1122 King Road. So this is what was in the video today, but I wanted to go over it here, and because then there's more at the end. All right, so it says on 11/13, Dylan was interviewed and in regard to the homicide investigation at 1122 King Road. Dylan said she was a resident of the house where the incident occurred. Dylan said she was at a party at around 10:30 on 11/12/2022 where she was drinking. Dylan said she went to a house, maybe it's the White's house, who knows. Dylan said she believes she arrived home between 12:30 and 1 o'clock in the morning on 11/13. Dylan said she thought Bethany arrived home at around 20 minutes after that, so between obviously 12:50 and 1:20. Thanks, Linda Howell. Dylan was asked about the layout of her house. Dylan said Kaylee's room was directly above her room. Dylan said she lived on the 2nd floor and Kaylee lived on the 3rd floor. And it says Dylan said Kaylee and Maddie both live upstairs on the 3rd floor in separate rooms, but her room is not directly below Kaylee's room. I don't know if she just never knew what room was which upstairs. I don't know. But Dylan said she lived on the 2nd floor and Kaylee lived on the 3rd floor. Dylan said Kaylee and Maddie both live upstairs on the 3rd floor in separate rooms. Dylan said Xana lived closest to the bathroom on the 2nd floor. And see, all that's correct. When asked about Murphy, she said it was a dog owned in common between Kaylee and her ex-boyfriend, Jack. And then Dylan said there were no apparent issues between Kaylee and Jack. Dylan said Maddie had a boyfriend named Jake. And then in Boise at the time of the incident, he was in Boise at the time of the incident. Then Dylan indicated Xana was dating Ethan Chapin who was in the room with her at the time of the incident. Dylan did not know of anyone who would want to hurt Ethan. When she was asked, Dylan was asked if she saw any cars in the area that should not be there, and Dylan said, no, I was not really looking at that. And yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, you know, a lot of times people want you to remember something, but you're not really looking for that something. You know, like in the Delphi case, people walking along on the, you know, by the killer, and some of them said, oh, he had all black on, some say blue. You know, they didn't know, oh, I've got to remember it and then write it down. And this is my third, like I made a video and then I put out a video, just the scanner audio of the Michigan stabbing event. And now I'm doing another show, so YouTube probably ran out of notifications for me. But, you know, hopefully people show up here. And by the way, the reason we're trying to raise funds on the show is that it keeps my channel alive. But also at the end of the month, I give away thousands of dollars to various true crime related charities, unlike all the rest of them. I mean, it'd be great if all these newcomers and all these people just absolutely, you know, smoking me in income, you know, like they're doing way better than I am, that they would give back as well. Nobody's required to, but, you know, the true crime world is a little bit different. It feels like, you know, the subject matter that we're actually making an income on is something where we need to give back to try to help the causes surrounding it. You know, and my channel's given $251,500, so $251,500 in since January of 2020, which is really, you know, about 5.5 years. That's pretty good. All right, so if you want to support a channel that does that, that would be awesome. Yeah, I get a lot of crap for it because you know, these people out there think that I'm telling you that I'm a charity. No, I'm not a charity. I just have an income that my channel makes, and then I donate a lot of the money at the end of the month after that. Okay, that's just what it is. Even out of my, it comes out of my ad revenue, comes out of every, you know, all the income that comes in. Super chats is a big portion of the income, so if there's no super chats, then I won't be able to donate anything because there's a certain amount that the channel has to make, you know, to survive. All right. Hey, thanks, Richard Watts. Let's see. Dylan said at this time she jumped up. Okay, so Dylan said she woke up at around 4 a.m. on 11/13 where she could hear Kaylee and Murphy, the dog, dancing. Dylan said she knew it was Kaylee because she recognized her voice and could hear Murphy barking. So, you know, maybe that's when an attack was happening, and then now we wonder what Kaylee might have been saying. Dylan just couldn't make out what she was saying. Dylan said she heard Kaylee go upstairs and say, so this is an error, that's Xana, go upstairs and say, there's someone here. Dylan said she thought she heard Xana run back down the stairs. She says Kaylee, but it's just technically can't be right, so I'm assigning that to Xana because that's the only logical explanation. Hey, thanks, Megan Bailey. Yeah, good luck, that's right. There's someone here. Dylan said, I thought she heard Kaylee run back down the stairs. So that's almost perfect where it's like Xana goes upstairs because she hears something and then says there's someone here, and then Dylan said she heard Xana run back down the stairs, and that's when Xana's being chased by Kohberger. Dylan said Kaylee sounded scared when she made this statement. Right. And then Dylan said at this time she jumped up, locked the door because she did not know what else to do. Dylan said she called out Kaylee's name and did not indicate if she got a response. Dylan said she then tried to call Kaylee, Xana, Maddie on their phones. Dylan was asked if she saw anyone come downstairs or heard anything. Dylan said no. So she never actually saw a physical human. She just heard sounds and assigned it. That's why she doesn't know if it was, that's why she calls it Kaylee, but it was actually Xana. And we know that because, let me just ask you this. I'm just using common sense and logic. Does it make sense that it was Kaylee running down the stairs and then somehow she runs back up and ends up in the far corner of the bed? See, that doesn't make any sense at all. She would have been on the floor in the room. Instead, she was attacked right where she was, and apparently they're still kind of a little bit underneath the blankets, both of them. Hey, thanks, Courtney, and it's, let's see, Amy Darcy. Yeah, Amy Darcy Marie, and Christy B. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. Yeah, it had to be Xana, right. So this is how I do stuff here. Like I just try to look at something, and if it doesn't make sense rationally, I just wipe it out and I don't keep considering it. That's what really is lacking. A lot of people will spend the next 30 minutes talking about, oh my God, there was Kaylee running up and down the stair. Oh my God, and it's like, no, it's not. And I won't ever be doing that. Okay? It's crazy. Let's see. Dylan said at this time she jumped up, locked the door, and then Xana and Maddie, she tried to call Kaylee, Xana, and Maddie on their phones. Dylan was asked if she saw anyone downstairs or heard anything. She said, no, I don't even know how they got in. So I'm not sure, like that response, they were probably, I'm not sure if the person asking a question was actually talking about, the girls or the killer, but that's who she was responding about. It was just really random. It says, I was just really random. I think that's a typo that likely said it was really random. When asked again about a series of events, Dylan said she opened the door when she cried out to Kaylee, then closed the door because she was scared. Dylan said she then opened the door again and heard who she thought was Kaylee, but could have been Xana crying in the bathroom. So is she saying, yeah, so I'm not sure why she's saying she was crying in the bathroom. There's no way she would be able to know that. And let me show you why. And that's why it's important to know the layouts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, so this is a good way to illustrate it. That's Dylan, right? The bathroom is right around the wall here. For example, I'm going around the corner. Okay, let me go back a little bit forward. Yeah, right here's a good one. So there's Dylan, right? So the bathroom is right here on the left. Let's see, I'm just trying to go a little bit further around the corner. Well, that's going the other direction. Dylan, yeah, so there's the living room and Dylan's around that corner, and here's the bathroom. So she wouldn't be able to know that anybody was in the bathroom. It could have just been Xana was right in this area, and this is about where she was attacked and then ended up in her room. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm talking about? Yeah. And if you ever have a thought that you want to talk about, just throw it in a super chat, and we'll. That's what they're for, actually. And we can talk about it. Common sense and logic. What university teaches that course? Yeah, it's not common anymore. Yeah, it's crazy, especially on YouTube. It's amazing. Dylan said at this time, we already did the jump up. When asked again about the series of events, Dylan said she opened the door when she cried out to Kaylee. So she was like, Kaylee, she was yelling. That's crazy. We didn't know that. Then closed the door because she was scared. Dylan said she then opened the door again and heard who she thought was Kaylee, but could have been Xana crying in the bathroom. Dylan said she then heard a man's voice say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you." Dylan said it was weird because The statement was not in a nice way, and the voice was one she had never heard before. So something like, "It's okay, I'm going to help," I don't know. I mean, I don't know when she says it wasn't in a nice way. Dylan said she called out to Kaylee again, and there was no crying after. And she didn't know what happened. See, I think she is somehow thinking that Xana is Kaylee here. It's weird. Dylan said she opened the door again, and the guy is right there. Dylan described the male as approximately her height, 5'10", or a few inches taller, not skinny, but athletically built. Dylan said the suspect was wearing all black with masks and covered his forehead, and it goes around his face. Dylan showed with her hands the mask exposed his nose. I mean, so his nose should have stood out more than the eyebrows. You know what I mean? It should have been basically the Groucho Marx is what she should have seen. You have this big nose with these massive caterpillar-like eyebrows. Dylan said she believed the suspect was white but did not remember eyebrow color or what his eyes looked like. Dylan said when she saw the suspect, he saw her and just left. So she doesn't know that he saw her. She only saw one eyebrow. That means from the side of his face. And, it's like she just is saying that. She has no. I think if he'd seen her, she wouldn't be alive right now. I don't think so, Gray. You see, because Dylan was in on it with Kohberger, I mean, these people are crazy nut jobs, all right? These Prosecution crazy people. They come up with any story to try to work it back in, and Kohberger is guilty. He is the killer, everybody. He admitted it, and not only that, he was so scared of getting the death penalty that he even accepted not ever being able to appeal. And that should tell them all they need to know. Dylan said she believed the suspect was white but did not remember eyebrow color. And then down here it says, Dylan said she believed he was holding something near his stomach or belt line. Dylan, so like kind of low, right? And then Dylan used both hands to point straight out from her abdomen. Dylan then moved her hands apart. So I mean, imagine she's going like this and then, making a point like that. Hey, look at that alley cake, 60 months. We're having one of those lulls, you guys. We need some channel memberships, etc. All right, so she used both hands to point straight out from her abdomen. I'm just going like, you can't even see me, but just kind of do what it's saying with yourself. So put both your hands out like you're praying, but further away from your abdomen. Then moved your hands apart and back together to simulate a bulge. So it's like apart and then together, like coming backwards, I guess, to simulate a bulge. Dylan said the area was black in color, and she thought maybe it was a gun. Dylan said the unknown object had an arrow shape. Dylan seemed really unsure and said she was tired during the event. Hey, thanks, Scott's sister. I'm pretty happy Dylan didn't have to go through the trial. Defense wouldn't have been, yeah. Because there's errors in here, things. And by the way, the prosecution, I think, on the timeline of the Elantra made two errors. One was the time when the Elantra drove by the A&W. They're off by, 15 seconds there. And then there's and the reason I threw that out there as something because it doesn't make sense, the timing for that video footage and then getting to Ridge Road, which should take about 25-30 seconds, and they have it 5 seconds apart, and that just wouldn't happen. And then also when the vehicle does its 3-point turn on Queen and King Road, they have in the documents And it's just doesn't match the surveillance footage time, which is accurate. That time on that surveillance camera is 100% accurate. So they're off on that. So it's like, I mean, why do you do that? Just, if you're doing cases like, I mean, even in some of these documents, they mention how they did other things and put the thing down wrong, but just do it right. You know? I mean, we all make mistakes, but I mean, you know, keep looking at it and fix it. You know? It's weird. All right, Dylan was asked how long she believed it was from the time Kaylee said someone is here to when she saw the suspect. Dylan said she thought it was about 10 or 20 minutes. That's just way off. I mean, so 10 minutes is way too long. You know, because when somebody said there's somebody here, that would probably be around 4:12 or, you know, ish. You know, and then, let's see, someone is here to when the suspect walked by. That would probably be like 4:18 or 19. I mean, 10 minutes is close, but it's still, that's too much time. And I think what it is time is way, when you watch my 7 minutes, I made a video called like 7 minutes that showed like how long it would take to do, you know, the crime, like maybe in 7 minutes. I did one for 9 minutes and then I switched it to 10. And even when we all watched the 7-minute one, it just took way too long. I don't know why that comment was removed, but maybe a sling backpack shifted into the front chest. Maybe, I don't know. Didn't detectives find a discarded backpack of some type in the yard? Somewhere, but obviously that wasn't related, right? I mean, so you just look at it like this. They find different things, and we would hear about it if it was related. They would have said, oh, inside the backpack we found... I mean, that would make him the most incompetent of all criminals in the world if, like, there was some backpack left there. I mean, maybe he left something there to try to think it was somebody else. I don't know. But, no, I don't know. Okay. Well, I read your comment out, Glock, Scotch, and wristwatch. Your comment accidentally got removed. So that was, she said 10 or 20 minutes. Dylan went on to say she was in and out of it, and she did not fully remember the incident. Dylan was asked where the suspect was in the residence when Dylan saw him. Dylan said the suspect was between her bedroom door and the kitchen. See, that can't be, right? Because then his back would have been towards her. I think I have it exactly where that was. I mean, it's really obvious. It was like right here. I mean, he comes out. Now you can see his face as he's turning, and that's why she thought he saw her, but he probably was just in a hurry. And I guess if he did see her, he was just done. He had to get the hell out of there because the dog was barking, and he didn't want to spend more time. Let's see, residence. She said the suspect was between her bedroom door and the kitchen. Dylan said she remembered watching the suspect go out the door and the kitchen door and leave. So right at that point, just down the hall, turn left, out the door, the sliding glass door. Said at this time she closed her door and locked it as fast as she could. As she said, the suspect did not walk towards her to say anything. Dylan said once the suspect left, she immediately called Bethany. Dylan said, so, I mean, the timeline doesn't show that, you know, so we have the timeline. So Bethany actually called Dylan at 4:19, so maybe she just remembered that I don't know if they talked for like 10 seconds or what that was, but, and then Dylan calls Xana, and then Dylan Mortensen called Bethany Funk for 41 seconds at 4:20 and 28 seconds. But we already know that he's gone by 4:20 because she calls at that time. And I think he's already gone by 4:19 and 7 seconds, possibly. It might be like at 4:19 something he left, and Bethany, that's maybe why Dylan maybe didn't answer the phone if she didn't when Bethany called. Don't know. Hey, thanks Alley Cake and Soundgarden fan. Hello, Gray. I believe Kohberger's parents had to have known since the Amazon account was supposedly shared. Yeah, I mean, they might have known that he ordered a K-bar knife. Perhaps they didn't know what it, he just bought a K-bar knife. I don't know if they knew. I don't think they knew that he was going there to kill somebody. I think it's very possible that the dad and family members were very suspicious that he did something before he even went there to pick him up. And they were probably like talking and observing on the way home. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. Bethany informed her she heard a sound that sounded like a firework. Dylan then said she told Bethany she called everyone and they are not answering. Dylan said she was in and out of it and believed everyone was just asleep. Dylan said she then went to Bethany's room, locked the door, and went to bed. Dylan said she woke up at around 11 or 12 hours and called her roommates and no one answered. Dylan said she called a hunter and Hunter came to the residence, went upstairs and told Dylan they needed to call law enforcement immediately. So the girls didn't see anything, Hunter did. And then Dylan was asked if there was anything else she wanted to share. Dylan said the noise Bethany described the noise. Let's see. Dylan said the noise Bethany described the noise as a loud boom. See, that's different than a crackly sound, right, you guys? You know how later, like, people are talking about it sounds like crackly fireworks? She said it sounded like a loud boom, but Dylan didn't hear it. Well, that's interesting. But it also, the loud boom matches a loud thud extremely well. Don't you agree? Don't you agree with that? Like, that absolutely is what that is. When the dog was barking and there was whimpering sound and a loud thud, a loud boom, because it sort of sounds like that. When you hear it on the audio, it's like a right? And if you were in that house, it was probably really loud in there. So I think that's the answer to whatever she heard. Now, I can't explain her vision of lights through the door that she said. I don't know what to tell you on that. You know, it's not Kohberger though. He's out of there. And it's not the headlights going. She didn't say lights went into her window. She said something in another document. I think I have those. That it went under the door. Okay. Anything else? Oh yeah, loud. Okay. Dylan was asked if any of her roommates shared any weird experiences in the last couple of weeks, or calls or texts. Dylan said no, it's been all normal, nothing weird at all, nothing really weird happens in Moscow. Usually, when asked if there was any altercations at the party, Dylan said no, everything was normal. Dylan mentioned, again, she was with Dylan and Xana at the party. Dylan was asked if anyone was having sexual relations with anyone they shouldn't be. Dylan said no. Now, Dylan brought up an incident which occurred about a month prior. Dylan said she and Bethany remembered Kaylee saw a shadow while she was taking Murphy outside. It says outside, but they have to type in outside. Is that okay if I make that change there and let you know that it says outside instead of that? Hey, thanks, Kira Say, or Kira Asay. Thanks. This is very, why is it confusing? Yeah, it doesn't seem confusing. Yeah, that part, you mean the light? Yeah, I mean, I don't know what she's talking about. I just think, let's say you're having a dream. And sometimes your dream starts forming based on sounds. And then she wakes up, and then some of it might be what her perception was. There was no taser or anything like that. I know people, here's what happens on YouTube, you guys. Whatever seems the most sensationalistic, even if there's zero evidence of any kind on anybody in the autopsy or anything, they'll come up with stuff like taser, and then it becomes, ooh, a taser, yeah, ooh. And it just gets weird after a while, there's no evidence that there was a taser used, just because she said it sounded like firecrackers or whatever. Well, here, Dylan says that she said it sounded like a loud boom. Yeah, you're not really truly awake. Let's see. Dylan brought up an incident which occurred about a month prior. We just said that. So, yeah. So then an individual was following her also. So Kaylee also mentioned when she was at a place 2 or 3 weeks prior, an individual was following her. Dylan also said she arrived home one time. I think it might be Walmart, that place. One time, and the door to the residence of 1122 King Road was found open. Dylan said she did not believe the slider door was locked the night of 11/12. I thought it was broken, though. That's what we read in some other, or I don't know if we read it or we heard it. There's just so many different places information comes in. Dylan said she heard Murphy barking a lot around 4 in the morning on 11/13. So I think you can assign the time when the dog's barking. It's likely because somebody's there, or Kaylee would have stopped the barking. Don't you agree? Like, if the dog's sitting there barking and barking and barking, don't you think that she would have stopped the dog barking so it didn't wake up? But instead she was preoccupied because she was fighting somebody. Dylan said she heard Murphy barking a lot around 4, and then Kaylee went upstairs. When Kaylee went upstairs, see, that's not when she didn't go upstairs at that time. She was already upstairs, and that's Xana again. She said she heard Murphy go outside barking as well, so that might be like maybe Murphy did run down the stairs and go out the sliding glass door and sort of followed Kohberger. I mean, who the hell knows? We were talking about that. Or went out on the balcony. But I don't know how well Dylan would have heard the dog barking. I guess she does have a window that faces the back, so. Said she heard Murphy go outside barking as well. Dylan was unsure if Murphy would chase a suspect outside. But hey, you guys, we need some gifted channel memberships. We got a lot of people in here that aren't channel members. It'd be cool to have some of them as channel members, but we've only got one membership, and that was one that somebody generously bought for themselves. I mean, you could just leave the sliding glass door open in that room and Murphy could go out. Maybe that's what Kaylee did up there. So we have 0 gifted memberships. Let's see. Unsure if Murphy would chase this. Okay. So she said Dylan was unsure if Murphy would chase a suspect outside. Dylan said she did not remember if the suspect who ran left the slider door open. She doesn't remember that part. And then, all right, look at that. Laura Ann, 7 months. And then Hunter said around 12 o'clock in the morning, Dylan called Emily. I think that's his girlfriend's name. Dylan told Emily she thought something was not right in the house. Dylan was also told Emily she heard or saw a man in her house the night prior. Dylan asked Emily and Hunter to come over and make sure everything was okay because she locked herself in Bethany's room. So they're in Bethany's room. They haven't gone outside or anything. Hey, look at that. Laura gifted a membership, and Gracie Ann became an Oogla Boogla freak. Oogla Boogla. That's so funny. That's what we used to say that all the time. I'm not sure why. Why did we say Oogla Boogla? I think it was like an imitation of like a ghost or something. I don't remember. So that part is pretty interesting right there. Dylan asked Emily and Hunter to come over and make sure everything was okay because she locked herself in Bethany's room. So that's why when Hunter came over, he had to use the code to get in. Hunter said he was the first person to get to the residence. Hunter said he entered the code to the front door where Bethany and Dylan were in Bethany's room. See, they were in the room on the first floor. Dylan and Bethany were telling Emily they did not know what was going on. So Dylan and Bethany were telling Hunter, actually. They didn't know what was going on. So Hunter went in. I mean, doesn't this all just make complete sense, you guys? I mean, it's so weird how it doesn't make sense to people, but like, they're in the room, they're still locked in there. Then Hunter comes in with the code, and then he goes to Bethany and Dylan, and they tell him, hey, we don't know what's going on. And they may have even met him kind of by the door. Who the hell knows? But then Hunter said he went up the stairs, so he's by himself, and then he immediately went into Xana's room. So maybe Dylan and Bethany kind of crept up the stairs with him. So it'd be like right here. See, he comes up these stairs. The door is right down there. See where I'm pointing? There's a door to the front of the house down there. He would have came up the stairs, and maybe Bethany and Dylan stayed all the way back here, and then he walks to the room down there. Hunter. Let's see. Right, so he said he entered the code to the front door where Bethany and Dylan were in Bethany's room on the first floor. Dylan and Bethany were telling Hunter they did not know what was going on. Hunter said he went up the stairs and immediately went into Xana's room. He said this was the only room he went into. Hunter said when he approached the door, it was only partially open. So, you know, we've seen it. I have it open, but if it's partially open, you could still see somebody on the floor in there. And it sounds like the lights were on everywhere. I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, I bet you they were dimmed in different rooms. Like there was probably some ambient light. Hunter said this was the only room he went into. Hunter said when he approached the door, it was only partially open. Hunter said when he opened it, he saw Xana and Ethan. Hunter said he initially did not realize all the blood was dried blood in the room. Hunter said he thought at first they had been drunk and left a mess. Hunter said when he stood there for a moment, he began to realize that what he was seeing. I mean, man, that just must have been crazy. Hunter said Bethany and Dylan were uncontrollably crying. Hunter said he told them to get out of the house and call law enforcement. So he probably, you know, I mean, who knows what he said or whatever, but they probably could tell something was really wrong. Hunter said he then went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife from the drawer. Hunter said he then went into the room, so he told them to get out because he saw all this blood. He realized what was going on. Then he told Dylan and Bethany to get the hell out of there. And then at this point, all by himself, I mean, that's pretty gutsy. I mean, just picture any one of, you know, having the guts to, like, when nobody else is around, you have to go, you know, go get a knife in the kitchen and then go back into a room where there's your two dead people. Both of them are your friends, you know. And one's your, like, your best friend. Right. So then Hunter said he then went to the kitchen and grabbed a knife from the drawer. Hunter said he then went into the room and checked the closet to make sure there was not anyone else in the room. Hunter said he checked for a pulse on both Xana and Ethan. Hunter said both of the bodies had rigor mortis. I mean, that's crazy. We didn't know that he even knew that at all, but now we know that he found that they were both stiff from rigor mortis, and that's exactly makes sense. I think rigor mortis is like, what is it, like 4 to 12 hours later, some number like that. After somebody dies, and then I think after that it goes away, rigor mortis. Hunter said both the bodies had rigor mortis and were cold with no breath or pulse. And thank you up there for Gracie Ann and Dirtbike Pastrana for upping your membership there, and Laura. So now we have 3 gifted channel memberships, but we're currently only at 40% of a minimum goal. So if we could get some more support out there, that would be great. Let's see. Went to bed. Did not remember if the suspect ran left or right. He said he told them to get out. Okay, now it's this down here. Hunter said he believed he left the knife on the folding table in the living room. Hunter said Ethan, and then there's some, I don't know what that other girl with the J is, and L started to enter the house and come up the stairs. Hunter told them to get out of the residence. Hunter said this was about the time the police department arrived on the scene. So there was a 911 call made, and he told them to get out, get out, get out. Remember, again on the 911 call, so he did that twice. Hunter said the officer told him to stay where he was at. Hunter said he did not know if anyone else was upstairs, as he had not gone anywhere else in the house. Hunter said he had trouble comprehending what he was seeing. Isn't that weird? That's like they're all saying that. Hunter said he was not at the party prior. Hunter said he and Ethan were texting the night prior by phone. Hunter said Ethan wanted him to come over, but let's see, Hunter chose not to. Hunter said he knew Ethan since the fall of 2021. I think that's when Ethan was a freshman. So kind of, late start. Or I guess that is when you start. Hunter said he was in something, and Ethan was a different fraternity, and Ethan was a member of Sigma Chi. Hunter indicated, let's see. Oh yeah, Jay is the sister of Ethan, I think. Jay and Ethan were in the same Emily were in the same sorority and were roommates. Hunter said, L, I don't know, I hate that we can't see the names, who was also present in the fraternity and was currently dating Jay. Bethany said he and L stayed at something's apartment with Ethan and let's see, probably Jack, the night of 11/12/2022. Bethany was asked when was the last time he was at 1122 King Road. Hunter indicated he was last at the residence on 11/12/2022, where he was pre-gaming, like we used to call it pre-funking, where you drink some beers and everything. Hey, thanks, Allie Cake. He was pre-gaming for the Vandals football game. Hunter said he got to the residence at around 12 noon or 1 o'clock and left at about 2:30 to go to a different party. Hunter said the last time
I think Hunter's actually in the Kaylee Gonzalez. You know that video where she's being told to keep the audio down and they're out on the back deck? I think that's Hunter is in that video. He's sort of sitting there. He's in a lot of the videos. He's in the one, like, I'm not sure, the one prior to Xana, the one that there was nobody home. I think Hunter's in that one too. Yeah, he's in the one that he comes out and talks to the cops, and then the cops get on the phone with Madison. Wow, no coffees either, you guys. Man, we're just getting crushed tonight. See if we can get some of that going. We called it pre-funking, not funk, like pre-function. We'd call it, like before the function. It might have sounded like something else when I said it. Hunter indicated he was at a residence at 11:22. Yeah, he left at 2:30. Estimated Xana and Ethan were dating for about 8 months. Hunter said he knew Xana very well through his girlfriend Emily. Hunter said he was not very familiar with Maddie or Kaylee. Hunter allowed pictures to be taken of his phone of the conversations between him and Ethan. And then there's an interview here. Said she texted, so this a girl with the first name of J said she texted Bethany at 11:20 hours on the morning of 11/13/2022. She asked Bethany if she was awake. She said Bethany called her back at 11:49 hours. Bethany told Jay she and Dylan were in Bethany's room. Jay said Bethany was freaked out because her roommates were not answering their phone. Yeah, see, they just didn't want to know what the reality was. Hey, welcome, Pamela. That's what I've always said, and it's just so obvious, you know. Jay said Bethany asked her to come over to 1122 King Road and pick her up. Jay said Bethany texted her while she was driving there and said Ethan and Hunter were on their way. Not said that Ethan driving and said Ethan, I'm not sure. It says E and Hunter are on their way as well. I don't know how Ethan could be on his way. I don't know who E is, I guess. But Hunter, I think, is the brother in this situation. We're on the way as well. Maybe it is Hunter. And maybe that's not, it's Emily. That's right. It's Emily again. Yeah, I'm just looking at it again. It says E, not Ethan. So Emily and Hunter were on their way as well. Jay said as she arrived, oh my God, you guys, I can figure it out on my own. You don't need to all keep typing in. I know who everybody is, all right? But with all these redactions, it's hard after a while to keep everything straight. Everybody type in E at the same time. It's Emily, it's Emily. Everybody type in Emily. 1, 2, 3, 4, Emily. Hey, Gray, it's Emily. It's the girlfriend. Gray, it's Emily. It's Emily, the girlfriend. Gray. It's Emily, the girlfriend. Gray. It's Emily, the girlfriend. 30, now 5, I'm 35. Right. She was driving there and said that Emily and Hunter were on the way as well. Jay said as she arrived, MBD units were arriving as well. Jay said she did not go to the party, but went to a different one instead. Jay said Bethany and Dylan came to this other party after she left. And Jay estimated Dylan left her party at about 12:30 hours, and Bethany left her party at about 1 a.m. on the 13th. Jay said she was in something with Dylan and Elle Bethany and Xana said Xana and Maddie were both in, but the dropped out and Kaylee, probably in a sorority. Kaylee was in a sorority but dropped out as well. Jay suspected the girls dropped their respective sororities because of issues with other girls in the houses. Jay specifically cited girls on the executive board who tell other members what to do. Jay suspected this was what they did not like. Jake, what a great decision. Sororities and fraternities are just piles of shit. I'm just letting you know. Jay said the girls who were still active members of the sorority who chose to not live in the house did so because of money issues. Jay said Maddie was Bethany's, said Maddie was Bethany, B's big sister in the sorority house. Jay said she knew Kaylee saw a dark figure staring at her from the tree line. See, that's crazy, right? Like this stuff here, I bet you could be Kohberger. Jake said, it could be Jack, probably Jake. No, let's see. That's probably Jack. That's her boyfriend, so that's why he would know about it. Jack said she knew Kaylee saw a dark figure staring at her from the tree line when she took her dog Murphy out to pee. Jack said this occurred about a month ago. Yeah, I bet you anything that's Kohberger. At 1112 King Road. Jack said there has been light-hearted talk and jokes made about a stalker in the past. Jack said all the girls were slightly nervous about it because about it being a fact, though. Jack did not indicate any special media issues or issues between the girls who lived together. Jack said there was no issues with the girls from the sorority and the residents at 1122 King Road. And I remember these idiot YouTubers were saying that the girls were killed by sorority members because they didn't like them, so they hired somebody or part of their friends and they went and killed them. Remember that? But hey, guys, we're having one of those massive lulls. We're going to struggle to make the goal tonight, so we've got enough people in here. It shouldn't be difficult at all. So if you're out there watching and you have the ability to support the channel, we got the super chats, we've got the buy me a coffees, we've got membership gifting. That would be awesome, but we're currently just barely, we're still at 43% or something. Not even close. Let's see. Well, it's not really a tip. It's just what they're talking about right here. Jack said she did not she did not know the code to the front door. Who's he talking about? With the girls from the sorority and the residents at 1122 King Road, Jack said the front door had issues with locking and sometimes it could be opened without a code. Jack said, or Jay, maybe that's not Jack. I don't know, maybe this is the Jay, the girl, but either way, it's somebody talking about Kaylee. So Jay said she did know the code to the front door. Jay said she was unsure if the residents kept the back sliding door locked regularly. So all these J's here, maybe make that a girl with that name. No, Josie? Okay. I think she was in the specials. I just, the only one I remember the name of was Emily. Yeah, that was an interesting one. We talked about it. I was actually going to make a video on the Blake Street one. But I need your guys' support, you guys. We're struggling again. We shouldn't be having to do this when we do these shows. It's crazy. El said he did not go to the party. I think we were already there. Where were we at here? Dylan walked out of the house crying. El said Hunter arrived to the residence first because he left before them. L said he went inside into the downstairs door. Hunter told him not to come up the stairs because he already seen. L said she said he did not know Ethan very well. L said he did not recall any talk between Xana and Jay about boy issues. L said, so L must be a guy, said he did not see anything on social media. L recalled an incident from about a month prior where Dylan said there was a guy stalking her. L said he did not hear anything from the night prior. Alright, so anyways, we went through that. Pretty crazy, pretty crazy. Huh? Yeah, what's wrong with having background music on the live? It sounds crazy when it's just completely... I'll make it quieter, though. I don't know why you give a damn, though. You know what I mean? Hey, thanks, Super Boom Shadow. Hey, at least somebody heard what I was saying. No, I didn't. I don't know if it said that. I didn't see it. Anyways, I'm moving on to the next one. We got to get through these. So here's 51 here. Let's see. Okay, this is more like another narrative. Officer Smith and I entered 1122 King Road through the bottom door. So this is all after that. So this is right after what we just read. On the north side of the building. Upon entering, I observed a small bedroom on the west side of the bottom floor. The door was ajar, and I could see a bed with covers and several other miscellaneous personnel items strewn about. The room did not appear to have been occupied by anyone. That's the storage room right on the right when you come in. By anyone, and did not see any clothes inside. I followed OFC Smith down the hall where there was a small bathroom next to the closet, had a pin code style lock and was secured. I looked into the bedroom on, bedroom on the east end of the bottom floor, which I later learned belonged to Bethany Funk. And Bethany Funk is right below the living room. The room had normal clothes and personal items about, but otherwise did not seem out of the ordinary. OFC Smith and I then walked upstairs to the second floor. The stairs ended in a small living room. There was a sectional style couch along the east and south wall of the room. There was also a small TV in a void on the northeast corner of the room. I also saw a black backpack on the floor just east of the top of the stairs. So, yeah, I mean, I guess that's heading towards the TV. OFC Smith then directed me down the hallway to the west bedroom on the second floor, which I later learned was Xana Kernodle's room. Just before this room, this is sort of like in the probable cause, some of this. There was a bathroom door on the south wall of the hallway. As I approached the room, I could see a body, later identified as Kernodle, laying on the floor. Kernodle was laying on her back with her feet, so this wasn't in the probable cause, with her feet facing the east and her head was facing west. Kernodle had a thong-type underwear on and a gray sweatshirt. There was a large amount of blood on the floor around Kernodle as well. I could see numerous wounds on Kernodle's arms, hands, and face, which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Just next to Kernodle on the west wall was a small white nightstand, which appeared to have been moved as it was pushed against the wall at an odd angle. So there was probably like a battle going on in there. All right, so what do we do here, you guys, to help get the nightly goal moving? I don't know if I can't do any better than I'm doing. You know what I mean? I'm just doing what I can. I do the shows, put everything together, and that's what we've been doing for years. I do the shows, you guys support the channel. That's it. And then we, as a group, also support all the great charities at the end of the month. And you'll see we'll probably, hopefully we'll donate 3,000 plus this month. We've already done 500. All right, but I need your guys' support when I'm doing these shows. It makes it really the energy drops where it's these long time frames in between. It's just wild, And every channel out there needs the same support. So when you're over there watching, and you can, like these other channels out there, it's just, they're doing these long shows, and I look over there and I see people they're not supporting them. And on my channel, I think I sort of deserve to be supported because I put out factual, accurate, well thought out information. It's not like I'm just sort of, these guys that just plop up a document and they just start, freewheeling with the most absurd ideas you've ever thought of. Hey, thank you. What is it? Trash. I don't know how to say that one. Trashian Talk. And thanks for Lexi Staff up there for gifting a membership. I haven't seen any. There might be. I just don't know what their names are. Scottster. I do have FOIA requests out there, though, for videos and documents and stuff like that. So we'll see what we get. Let's see. I also saw a black backpack on the floor just east of the top of the stairs. Okay, and then Kernodle had thong-type underwear and a gray sweatshirt. There was a large amount of blood on the floor around Kernodle as well. I could see numerous wounds on Kernodle's arms, hands, and face, which appeared to have been caused by an edged weapon. Just next to Kernodle on the west wall was a small white nightstand, which appeared to have been moved. And I think that's why there was smeared blood on different things, because there was a battle. It wasn't just sort of she was standing there, kind of like almost, like my video. It's hard to do all this stuff for those. Hey, welcome. Kira Essay, or Kirase, or however you say it. Welcome. The bed in Kernodle's room. Oh, wait, never mind. That wasn't where it was. OFC Smith and I then, where were we at? Blood on the floor around Kernodle. There was blood on the nightstand in various locations. See? The bed in Kernodle's room was situated on the south wall of the bedroom, with the head of the bed appearing to be towards the west wall. And that's exactly how I have it in my in this video, or what do you call it, 360 degree. So you're in here, that's how the bed was, like the head of the bed is towards the west wall. Obviously Ethan's on his back and his legs are actually off the edge of the bed there, and Xana's on her back. So these are just how I had it before we heard any of this information. All right, let's see. That's them. And okay, so it says the bed in Kernodle's room was situated on the south wall of the bedroom, with the head of the bed appearing to be towards the west wall. I could see a male later identified as Ethan Chapin, and I've always had this. I mean, for like not always, but for at least a year and a half, I've had him on the bed, to the arguments of many at the time. Gray, he's in the hallway. What's weird is, like, remember at the beginning of this case how everybody said Ethan was just laying in the hall and it looked like he was passed out? I mean, where in the hell did that come from? That is so off. Thanks, Jake at State Farm. Some type of blanket pulled over his midsection. Chapin's body was at an angle. So this is a good, this one really describes the positioning. This is what I was looking for yesterday. I could see a male later identified as Ethan Chapin laying on his back on the bed with some type of blanket pulled over his midsection. Chapin's body was at an angle on the bed so that his head was up against the south wall and his feet were hanging off the bed. So he was basically perpendicular on the bed, but his head was behind the side of the... I mean, that's just crazy. I could not clearly see the wounds to Chapin's body was at an angle on the bed so that his head was up against the south wall, and his feet were hanging off the bed on the north side. I could not clearly see the wounds to Chapin's head and neck area, but could see a very large amount of blood on the bed, as well as what appeared to be blood spatter on the wall next to Chapin's head. So that would be the south wall. I mean, it could be part of the west wall too, I guess. Hey, thank you, Brooklyn Knight, for gifting. I also noticed 2 large cuts to the back of Chapin's legs. So he says legs. So both legs had a similar cut in them, like in the hamstring. But what's weird about that is, how did you notice that if he was on his back? You know, I'm trying to figure that out. The wounds appeared to be deep into the tissue, but were difficult to see due to Ethan's body position. So, okay. So he was just saying that, but he was probably like slightly turned or something, and you could just sort of see at an angle there. OFC Smith then took me through the house and pointed out Dylan Mortensen's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast side of the second floor of the house. Mortensen's bedroom door opened to the kitchen area, as well as the staircase. And is there anybody, like everybody who's watched my channel, don't you just have like an amazing like visualization of how everything's laid out in the house? Like nobody's confused still, right? Like, hey, where's Xana's room, and where is Bethany's room, and where is Dylan's room, and where is Kaylee's room, and where is Madison's room? I mean, we've shown it the model, the 3D view so many times, I think everybody has it down at this point. But the problem is there's people that just started watching my channel, and they've been mired somewhere else where they just don't have it. I've gone out of my way to try to make sure that every single person that watches my channel has a much better understanding of everything. The surveillance footage, the layout of the house, what the FGG stuff meant, or IGG, whatever you want to call it. And that's just kind of what I've tried to do. And, I can't do any better than I have. It's just my channel, it gets sort of, I don't know if it's shadow banned or whatever, it just doesn't make it out. Like, for example, we only have 447 people watching, where, earlier there's these new channels that only have 22,000 subscribers. They got 2,500 people watching. It's like, well, how come? I mean, what's the, I'll never understand it. I think it's just more of a algorithm sort of, what category of a human are you? I'm probably the last, sort of category that they'd want to promote, Yeah, I'm going to definitely be doing Rex Human pretty soon. Moscow PD needs to hurry up and drop all the neighbors' security camera footage. Right, well, that's what I've asked for. I asked them for that and other stuff. Yeah.
The bed in Kernodle's room was situated on the south wall of the bedroom. The head of the bed. Okay, we already did that. OFC Smith then took me through the house and pointed out Dylan's room. Mortensen's room was disheveled, but did not appear to have any blood or evidence of a struggle within it. I then followed OFC Smith upstairs to the third floor of the residence. The third floor consisted of, and thanks D. Rich, 83, Moscow PD, yeah. We'll put that over there. You can see it. Third floor consisted of 2 bedrooms and 1 bathroom. The bedroom on the west side of the floor was later determined to be Kaylee Gonzalez's room. This room appeared neat and picked up. The only thing of note was the sheets on the bed were pulled back in a manner which suggested someone had been laying in the bed. I mean, it's sort of interesting that it doesn't even sound like there were, it sounded like the room looked normal. Almost as if she wasn't completely moved out yet. And then, let's see, laying in the bed and then gotten out of it. So somebody was in the bed and then gotten out of it. So some people think Kaylee, after hearing something, went to the room. But again, I go back to the part. See, I think she may have been in her room originally. Here's how I picture it. Like all 4 of them, remember they were in the room around 2:15 or so. And then, let's see, Bethany and Dylan probably said, hey, we want to get a grub truck too. So they got a hold of the Uber driver, but then they decided not to go. But then they all probably went off to their own rooms. I bet you Dylan, Madison, all 4 of them, Bethany and, I guess so it's just Bethany, Dylan, Kaylee, and Madison in that room. And they all went off to their rooms at that point. But then I bet you around like 10 minutes later, after Xana maybe had already gotten in her bed, she's like, hey, got up really quick and ran over and because she was trying to get a hold of Jack, her boyfriend, you know. So she goes, hey, you want to call? Can you call? To Madison. And Madison tried calling, and they were just trying to call all the way up to like 2:50 or so. And then they're just laying in the bed, goofing around, and then they just sort of fall asleep in that bed. And that's why Xana is in that bed with Madison Mogen. And Kohberger had no idea that Xana was in there. All right, does that make a little bit of sense? Like maybe she got in her own bed at first, and then went, "Hey, help call," and they laid down, kind of goofy, you know. Well, that was at a certain time. What time did they walk the dog at? So one of them walked the dog was Bethany. All right, that's right. Bethany, and that's right. Bethany and Madison went to walk the dog, right? I thought it was Bethany and what? No, it was Bethany. I think it was Bethany and Madison. That's what I remember. I was thinking, why did those people go walk the dog? No, it wasn't Kaylee and Xana. Where do you guys come up with that stuff? Yeah, remember the dog got lost? That's right, and Dylan was looking for, not Dylan, Madison was looking for the dog. God, that's crazy. There's these little things, you know, it's hard to know what was what. But Bethany was the other person. That's how we know about it, because they were alive. Or Bethany's alive. That's right, they did lose the dog for a little bit. Because she went into Dylan, didn't she go into Dylan's room and say, hey, have you seen Murphy? Yeah, so maybe right after that. But that was Madison. Kaylee might have still been up in... Well, that's kind of weird. Why would Madison be walking the dog? Oh, it was Bethany's room? All the way down to the first floor? Okay. But Madison's the one that took the dog out for the walk, though, right? That's what I thought too. I'm almost certain that it was like Maddie took the dog out for a walk, and I was kind of like, why'd she take the dog out for a walk? But I thought she went outside with Bethany
I guess we're gonna have to go find that somewhere. Maybe I have that somewhere. Let's see. Of course. I didn't label anything. So I can't find it. I won't be able to find it. I don't really care either. It's not something to spend time on. But anyways, I think at some point, it could have even been earlier, right? Since they got home, you know, I don't know. I mean, it might have, I don't know. She just got there that day, so I don't know, you know, when she got into the bed. But obviously somebody was in the bed for a minute. Yeah, sure. Maybe she'd like to take him out. I'm just saying, I don't know. You know, but that's her. So what was Kaylee doing at this time? Maybe she was in her bed like, I'm tired. And then Maddie goes, I'll take the dog out. And then can't find it. And then asks. I think the two names I remember in that circumstance was Bethany and Maddie. BK left the sheath on purpose as we would actually call it a calling card. Right. As an ode to Danny Rawling. That's what I think. I hate when people in the comments say, there's no way he left it there intentionally. And it's like, well, I mean, it's just as likely as accidental. There is no evidence either way. And, you know, I say it and everybody goes, there's no way he left it there accidentally. Over and over and over again. I'm telling you, Brian Kohberger wants attention. He even said it. The judge said it. Everybody said it. He wants attention. That's why he would want to leave a calling card. So every time he heard, this killer has been leaving K-bar knife sheaths around, he'd be like, ah, ha, 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 ha. You know, he'd be able to know that that was about him. Anyways, thanks, D. Rich. I don't even think that came in over here. Why is it saying verify it's you? What are you talking about? Hold on a second. You guys, we're still on, right? So weird. Huh. That was crazy. It just kind of asked me to verify myself. But I was able to do it, so that's good. Alright, but you guys, we're still only at like 50-something% here, so we're going to have to, you know, if you guys like the way the show's done, that'd be great. Thanks. I could see, so they went up to and then gotten out of the, OFC Smith then pointed out a small bedroom on the east side of the 3rd floor. Their bathroom shared a wall with Madison Mogen's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the on the 3rd floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in the single bed in the room. The bed was situated along the north wall of the bedroom. And the north wall, yeah, right. Yeah, the north wall, and the head was actually towards the east wall. Bed in the room. The bed was situated along the north wall of the bedroom, and both females, later identified as Mogen and Gonzalez, were laying on their backs with their heads towards the east and their feet towards the west, which was also the direction. So that's how I have them on there. But I have Maddie needs to be, she's on her back. Direction of the only door into the room. Both Gonzalez and Mogen had numerous visible stab wounds and were covered in significant amounts of blood. I also later noticed that what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side when viewed from the door. See, this is all in the probable cause. Thank you. That's what Lee said. And it's a crying shame. There you go. Thank you. That was weird. I wonder why. I mean, midstream, it wanted me to verify. Pretty weird. On the bed next to Mogen's right side when viewed from the door. I remained in the room for a moment and then proceeded back outside. I remained on scene and conducted several more thorough walkthroughs of the scene with ISP forensic team, the Latah County coroner, and the Latah County prosecutor. Upon receipt of the search warrant prepared by OFC Nunez, the ISP team led by Detective Sergeant Darren Gilbertson. I think that's interesting. You know, Gilbertson doesn't look familiar to me, but obviously he was a big part of the investigation. So why did he look familiar to Kohberger? Let's see. B loves believe Gray thinks he thought it was free of DNA. Yeah. I don't know who B loves is. He left on purpose. Are you all saying he wanted to get caught? See, people who type like that means they have no critical thinking skills. You know, people like B loves, their thinking, critical thinking skills left them a long time ago, likely just before grade school. So the thing is when you look at a case like this, you look at Kohberger, who went to all of the schooling and all of the, he wanted to be the cool serial killer. Yeah, well, you're rude as hell too, B-Loves, the way you say it up there. Are you saying he wanted to get caught? I mean, give me a break. That's just so ridiculous. So anyways, Brian, and I'm answering you seriously here, but I think the way you questioned that was ludicrous. Why not just say, so why do you think that, Gray? And then I would tell you, but you don't do that. Okay, get out of here, B-Loves. I knew you were a troll from the get-go. But I'll answer your question anyways with you off the air. The thing is you've got Kohberger who's sitting there studying serial killers, and then he wants to do all the cool things that serial killers did. So he was going to go into the house, and he was going to kill Madison Mogen, and he was going to leave the knife sheath on the bed as a calling card. Of course, it was cleaned. He wanted to make sure the knife sheath was cleaned meticulously. In fact, it was cleaned. But the only single source of DNA that was left on that knife was underneath the button snap, a place that he missed when he was cleaning it. So, and I think everybody should hope that's what the case is, because that'll haunt him for the rest of his life, that his idiocy, the same stuff that Olivia brought up in the when she just destroyed him, that's part of it, because he thought he was so clever and cool. Instead, he left a little tiny bit of DNA on the underside of the button snap. All right, there you go. He wanted to get caught. What kind of these people? See, those are rude comments like that. Like, we're so stupid that we go, yeah, we're coming up just because we thought he wanted to get caught. He knew his... The key is he didn't know that his DNA was on the sheath, right? Now, it could be that he did get it. It did knock off. I see, my thing is, I don't know which one it is. But I can make just as strong an argument that he left it there intentionally as I can the other direction. You know? Yeah, they don't all have calling cards. Yeah, they don't all... he didn't have one. But it's like a cool thing that serial killers do. Hey, look at that. CRR123 just gifted 10 freaking memberships. Look at that, you guys. That's pretty cool. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, see, whenever when I get responses like that, I know that they're being, passive aggressive on that kind of reply. What are you saying? He wanted to get caught or what? I mean, did you even think through it for 2 minutes? Right, I think he definitely was going to kill again. Brian Kohberger was a budding serial killer. And it's possible somewhere out there he did do something to somebody else. I just don't think so. I think Kohberger definitely was going to kill again because this wasn't... He didn't even know these people. He just... I think he was just going to kill Madison Mogen and sneak right back out. But he ended up having to kill 4 just because of the way he was. I mean, I don't think he went in there to kill the other 3. They just happened to you have Kaylee waking up. He attacks her, then the sound of that, then Xana comes up, and then he chases Xana down, and that leads to... Ethan Chapin, and then they get killed, and that's how it went. He might tell people differently. Oh no, I went there to kill them all, because he wants to pretend that he was in control the whole time. No, it's not likely that Kaylee was the target at all. Yeah. It's not. In fact, they'll all tell you, I mean, even though, so the thing is, so she wasn't even in town, so he's watching up, the weeks leading up. It just isn't likely at all. It's all of the anecdotal pieces of information that is coming from investigators and everybody believe that Madison Mogen was the target. And then even Bill Thompson said, well, they don't know which one it is upstairs, but he does know, and that's what's been leaked out there. And it's really obvious, I mean, Madison Mogen is like the classic sorority, beautiful, blonde, the same type of person that, Elliot Rodger, who he studied about, would be just hate the most because... And, Kaylee had blonde hair, but, I don't know. I'm just saying, Kaylee wasn't even around for a while. So he was monitoring Madison Mogen. Yeah, I don't care, Darcy. I'm just telling you that it's not likely that it was Kaylee, all right? Thanks for coming. Let's see... YouTube whack job Kohberger creators have just logged off, so the nut jobs may silver in here. I don't know what that... Oh, sliver in here? Oh, well, why were you watching that? That's crazy. Yeah. I don't care what Bethany Funk says. I've seen the times where there was people... he was outside. That just means she went outside and there was somebody there. He's not the stalker that was over at the Walmart. They talked to those people. Yeah, you just got to know the case a little bit better. All right, here we go. So it says, I remained on the scene. We already went through that part. So I'm going to move on to the next article. You're just not correct, all right? All right, here's the next one. Well, you should know because I'm on every single day at this time. On November 13th, 2022, at around 1:47 hours, I interviewed Bethany Funk at the Moscow Police Department. So now I'm adding on to Bethany Funk. Bethany, let's see. in a residence of 1122 King Road regarding the deaths of the 4 roommates. Funk was home sleeping in a room located on the basement floor of the residence. Bethany has an iPhone 11 Pro cell phone with passcode. Let's see. Bethany went to a party at around 10:30 with Ethan. Man. So at the Sigma Chi party at around 10:30 hours with Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle. They hung out in the apartment for a while together, and then Bethany went up to the main part of the fraternity to hang out at the party. Oh, and by the way, another thing, I've been there. I've been there 3 times now, and every time I go there, when you go back around behind there, you have a perfect view right in Madison Mogen's window, but not Kaylee's. You can go as far as you want over into the parking area, and her window's still at an angle. Where Madison Mogen's is right there, and he has easy access to pull up, turn off his lights, and just watch through her window. And that's when I, even on my own, said, a year and a half ago, I said, I think Madison Mogen was the target. I used to think it was everybody in the house, but I switched it to Madison Mogen after going there and seeing the layout. And then it turns out that that's exactly what investigators have been saying and telling people. It's in all the books. It's in every special that's out there. And there you go. It doesn't matter, Darcy. It doesn't matter at all. Yeah, it doesn't matter at all. It's just so weird. I mean, just think about it use your brain for a moment. Like, he's looking out. Like, let's say Kaylee walks outside and sees a guy standing out there. Well, how do you know he wasn't standing out there to look at Madison's room? Maybe Madison never went out to look at that. It's just weird. I mean, I don't understand it's just, And I know Kaylee was what everybody said at first. Okay. Hey, Darcy, I'm done arguing with you. The show isn't about you, okay? I'm trying to move on to this next thing here. So Bethany went to the Sigma Chi party, and then I think we're down here. Bethany went up to the main part of the fraternity to hang out at the party. Maddie and Kaylee went to the corner club together. Not sure when they left. Bethany did not see Ethan and Xana at the party and left to go to, some other residence on Taylor Avenue. Bethany walked home at around 1-ish, and when she got back to 1122 King Road, Dylan and somebody with the name of L and somebody with the first name of M were at the residence, and they all watched a movie together. Maddie and Kaylee got to the house at around 1:45 or 2, and then it says L left the house and Dylan went to bed. Bethany hung out with Maddie and Kaylee for a while. So Bethany hung out with Maddie and Kaylee for a while in Kaylee's room. Let's see. So that's like Bethany and Maddie took, this is the dog walk. So Bethany and, what room did they say they hung out in? Well, in Kaylee's room. Boom, that's exactly what was in those documents lately. So it says Bethany hung out with Maddie and Kaylee for a while in Kaylee's room, but I think Dylan was in there too. And then Bethany and Maddie took Murphy. See, I told you guys, it was Bethany and Maddie. Remember when I got argued a few minutes ago? Bethany and Maddie took Murphy, Kaylee's dog, out to go to the bathroom. So can we get the, wow, Gray, you were right again. I'm sorry. It's crazy. Gray, no, it was, and they went, and it's just insane, man. Bethany and Maddie took Murphy, Kaylee's dog, out to go to the bathroom between 2:30 and 3. Well, I tell you what, I don't think that's correct. And the reason I don't think it's correct, I mean, it could be early, like 2:35. Hey, Darcy, I'm just gonna call it a good night for you. You're an embarrassment. No, I wasn't wrong first. I said it was first. I didn't remember it. And then I said, no, it was Bethany and Madison. God, you're ridiculous. I did say that. Watch your video, Gray. Get rid of that person, man. They're just a troll that came in. You are an embarrassment. Get out of here. Let's see. BK can't erase their social media. Yeah, she's obviously a Kohberger. You guys remember, right? When I said it's Bethany and Madison, and then when I thought about it, that's what I came up with, and then people were typing in, no, it was Xana and Kaylee. It was somebody else and somebody else. Yeah. I'm just telling. I mean, I don't know. I might have just randomly said something, and then when I thought, I go, no, I thought it was Bethany and Madison. Right? But hey, guys, we're way behind still, so we still need another. I would say, what if we get another? Let's see. We need another like 12 channel memberships, and then I will purchase 5 for you guys too. So then we'll have 17 more. That'd be sweet. I know I think they do that. They come in here and try to twist the reality, you know, and they try to make the show about themselves. It's wild. Bethany hung out with Maddie and Kaylee for a while in Kaylee's room. Now we're get down to the Murphy part. Hold on a second. Yeah, so Kaylee's room, and then it says Bethany hung out with Maddie and Kaylee for a while in Kaylee's room, and then Bethany and Maddie took Murphy, Kaylee's dog, out to go to the bathroom between 2:30 and 3. However, let's take a look at the timeline right here. Hold on. So right here, Madison calls Jack for the... No, let's move up here. Okay, right here. Kaylee begins calling her boyfriend, so that's why she didn't go outside. Is that crazy or what? Hey, thanks, Dirt Bike Pastrana and a Crying Shame. Well, there's 6 of the 12. Very cool, and there's 7 of them right there. Wonder, but look at right here. So Kaylee's on the phone, and so Madison and Bethany. Oh, that's so interesting. Now we know exactly what this was. So Bethany, Kaylee, and Madison are all up in Kaylee's room, and then Kaylee says, "I'm going to make a call." Then Madison says, "Hey, can we take? We'll take Murphy outside really quick." So Madison and Bethany go take the dog outside, right? Because they were all 3 in the room together, right? But Kaylee's up here calling Jack on the phone at 2:26, right? And then at 2:44, Kaylee calls Jack for the 6th time. And now Madison's back, probably found Murphy and everything. And then at 2:44, Madison begins calling Jack. So now we know that Madison's already back from finding Murphy and everything at 2:44. Does that make sense to everybody? Isn't that amazing how that all just works? I think we should put that in there. I'm going to add that in right after, right here. I'm going to put in 11, 13, 20, 22, and I'm going to put like just around, like 2:30. That sounds about right. And then Madison and Bethany take Murphy for, Murphy outside to pee or whatever, right? I mean, who cares? And that's 1122 King Road. I mean, this is just my, I'll put like, I always put like a different color if I guess, but let's see, what do we have here? I don't remember what color that was, but I'm just going to put that there. Madison, Bethany, take Murphy outside to pee. And then there's some time in between here. It's probably like, right here where we would put, like 2, let's just say, I mean, it's just a guess, right? But like, it might even be like 243. Let me make it dark. And then, you know, Murphy, who was briefly lost, is found. 1122 King Road. I don't know. I'm just going to keep it there because I think that makes sense. We don't have a precise time, but it's in that time frame, right? So hung out with Kaylee for a while in Kaylee's room, and then Bethany and Maddie took Murphy, Kaylee's dog, out to go to the bathroom between 2:30 and 3. Bethany did not stay outside for very long. See? Yeah. This all just makes sense. She went to her room, and so then Murphy must have ran Kaylee's room, and then it said Maddie took Murphy, Kaylee's dog, out to go to the bathroom between, yeah, and then it says that Bethany did not stay outside for very long as it was cold. Maddie then went to bed and watched a TV show to help her sleep, and was watching Baby Daddy. So there must have been like a minute or something when the dog was lost. I don't know when that part was because it's in another document that she was asking, hey, you've seen Murphy? At around 4 to 4:20, Bethany heard what she thought was a firework and saw a spark on the ground under her door. What does that mean, a spark? You know, Bethany then heard Murphy barking. Dylan called Bethany and stated she had seen someone in the house. So it sounds like, you know, Madison went to her room and started watching. I mean, how does anybody know what she was doing? When it says Maddie then went to bed and watched a TV show to help her sleep, Baby Daddy. How does Bethany know that? Because Bethany went inside at 2, you know, right when they went outside, she said it was too cold, so she went to her room, and that's on the first floor, and Madison's room is on the third floor. So how does anybody know that she went to her room and watched Baby Daddy, because Kaylee's not alive to say that? Does anybody know the answer to that one? See that? And thank you up there to CRR. Oh, you got another, did you just do another 5 just now, or? You did. Oh, so CRR and Megan Bailey just gifted 6 more memberships. That was very kind of you guys. Thank you. So what do you think? Wasn't that interesting? Well, maybe, but she's on the first floor. So she climbed all the way back upstairs to... Maybe she just went inside and then went up with Madison while Madison got into bed and started watching the movie, and then she goes, I'm going to go to sleep too. But then Kaylee, who's in her room... God, this all just makes total sense now, you guys. So Kaylee was in her... I'm going to put that in the timeline. Kaylee was in her room, and this is going to be at... And she was in her bed. They went outside. She was laying in her bed. And... Yeah, this is just... right there. So Kaylee begins calling boyfriend Jack. And then I think I can just even put while laying in bed right here. While laying in her bed. Right? See how this is all starting to make sense now? She's laying in her bed, and Madison and Bethany take the dog outside, and then Bethany stays inside, goes back inside because she's cold, and then Madison comes back in, where the dog was or whatever, got lost for 2 minutes or whatever. Then once they found the dog, she goes up to her room at like 2:44, and maybe even before that. I might have to change that to like 2. Like this, Murphy was lost and found, etc. I bet she was back inside by like 2:40, so I think this should actually go, like if I put it right here. Is that gonna work? No. Right here. Murphy was briefly lost. No. Kaylee calls Jack for the 6th time. Madison begins calling. Yeah, so that was at the same time. So I think this is more like at about 2:40. Ah, man. So it has to go right here then, right? Alright, there we go. Briefly lost and found. I'm going to put like 2:35. You know, she comes back in. Hey, have you seen, you know, Murphy? So that's probably when that was. And then at 2:43, and I'm going to get rid of this here. That's not there anymore. But man, this totally makes sense. So, wow, they come home and then they're all hanging out in Kaylee's room. Kaylee's laying in her own bed. She then starts trying to call her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend Jack, and then Madison and Bethany go outside to let the dog go to the bathroom. The dog briefly gets lost, but you know, Bethany had already gone inside and Madison's still outside, and then, you know, then the dog makes it back in. We don't really know how that all went down. And then Madison goes upstairs, probably was already ready to pass out, and starts watching a TV show. And probably Bethany went up with her because she was still on the 2nd floor when she went inside. She didn't actually go down to her room. She just was hanging out inside because it was cold. And then they went upstairs together, and then probably just like 5 minutes in, she goes, you know what, I'm going to go to sleep. So she goes downstairs, and then Kaylee, who was in her bed calling Jack, goes into Madison's room and says, hey, can you start calling Jack too? And then they went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Doesn't that make sense? Yeah, there was no cartel involved or anything in this case. We already know who the... does that make sense, you guys? I think it does. Let's get some feedback. Oh, I just got a text saying that Papa Rogers is a woman. How crazy is that, huh? Well, this is from somebody that would know. That's crazy. Wow. That's just weird shit, man. All right. I gotta respond. Hold on a second. Huh, that's wild. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, why not? But anyways, what I just said a second ago, doesn't that just make complete sense? I mean, it actually fills in the entire timeline there. You know, at 2:13, Uber driver to Dylan Mortensen confirms he was driving. And then at 2:26, Kaylee begins calling. And then Madison and Bethany take Murphy outside to go pee. Then Murphy was lost and was briefly found. I'm actually going to put right here that just to make it even clearer, like 11, 13, 20, 22, 2:31. You know, we don't really know exactly the time, obviously. Just to put a placeholder though, 2:31. Bethany is cold, so goes inside, and then Murphy is briefly lost is found. Then I'm going to put another one in here, 11, 13, 20, 22 at like 2:40. Oops. 240. Let's see, so 240, Madison, it's really tight time frames in here. Madison is in bed watching, what the hell's the name of that? TV show Baby Daddy. Wow, man, that just is absolutely perfect right there. So here it is, 2 o'clock. Bethany and Dylan, Madison, and Kaylee are in Kaylee's room. 2:10, Kaylee's room. Dylan Mortensen sends a text at 2:10 a.m. So Dylan was up there too, to an Uber driver she knew to see if they were driving, because they were thinking of maybe going to the grub truck to get some food too. But then they decided not to. Uber driver to Dylan confirmed he was driving. And then they decided not to go. Then at 2:26, Kaylee begins calling boyfriend Jack while lying in her bed. And then Madison and Bethany take Murphy out to go pee. Then Bethany is cold, so goes back inside. Murphy, who was briefly lost, is found. And then at 2:40-ish or so, Madison is in bed watching Baby Daddy. Then at 2:42, believe it or not, the cast cell tower data shows that Brian Kohberger is now leaving his residence. Then at 2:44, Kaylee calls Jack for the 6th time. And then also at that same moment, that means she got out of her bed and walked over to Madison's bedroom and said, hey, can you call Jack? And then Madison begins calling Jack. And then at 2:52, Madison calls Jack for the 3rd time. And then at 2:52, Kaylee calls Jack for the final time at 2:52. And now they're probably both watching the show together after that. And interestingly, at 2:53, Madison calls Bethany, who's now down in her room. And I don't know what that call's about. Maybe that call is to say, hey, have you seen Murphy? You know, but I mean, that's interesting, right? Like now it's just all kind of makes sense in a little sort of a zone there. All right. Didn't mean to do the sidetrack there, but I think, I mean, that just makes absolute perfect sense. What do you guys think? I'm just want to know, because to me that's just like, that phone call actually might be, hey, have you seen Murphy? And you know, who knows, right? But she was just with Bethany, so you could see them making a call. And I know I'll get let me get the 5 memberships out there real quick for you guys. That's what I said. And thanks CRR and everybody else for making that happen. Hey, it made sense to Ralph, everybody. All right. Hold on, I'm going to get the membership here. Log in. Yeah, I love it when like everything falls into place, and that's what's been happening in this case. Like a lot of stuff is just, it falls into place. Once you get all the pieces, you know, some pieces of
This
the
is your
puzzle.
brain when you're struggling to focus.
Sorry,
And
I
this
got
is
this
your
ad
brain
that's popping
when you're
up
in the
on
zone. But getting in the zone
on
and
this other-
staying there, that feels more like luck than something you can
On
control.
Firefox.
So that's why we made Brain FM. It's like a do not disturb
taking
setting
so long
for your
that I
mind.
can't do it.
And it gets you focused in just 5 minutes. Using science and sound, Brain
Oh,
FM
man.
guides your brainwaves
Did it
into an
work?
optimal state for productivity called no.
All right.
Using science and sound.
Wow, that was wild. There you go, everybody. There's 5 more right there. All right, let's see. Bethany then heard Murphy barking. Dylan called Bethany and stated, oh, there it is. Dylan called Bethany. Or no, is it Dylan? Yeah, Dylan called Bethany and stated she had seen someone in the house. Oh, yeah, this is later. And Bethany told her she could come down to her room and sleep with her. Dylan went to Bethany's room and went to bed. They woke up at around 11 p.m. Or a.m., excuse me, in the morning, and talked to other friends who came over, and they checked on Xana. That was Hunter and Emily, and was it Josie, the other one, and Ethan, and found them deceased. Bethany originally called 911 and stated her friend was passed out and would not wake up. I think it's almost like civil suit worthy that the Moscow Police Department allowed people to believe that Bethany and Dylan didn't call 911 or something. I just feel like there's something almost maliciously shitty about that. Like, they made it so that they got absolutely pummeled, and they were the ones that called 911, and everything makes sense. They should have actually done a press conference on the 911 call and how it all went down. I mean, they are like almost, they're, almost culpable for why they're those two got just absolutely creamed by everybody. There's no reason in hell that 911 call couldn't have been released way earlier. But it's also that idiot Fry. He's standing up there, and he's just like, yeah, I don't know. That's a good point. Yeah, why, why didn't the roommates call? Yeah, well, you knew that they called. Bethany called, and then Dylan was next. They were both on the call. And Dylan was on a lot of the call. She was the main talker. Hey, thanks. Hey, crying shame. Love you, Gray, and the freaks. There's no documentaries out there that can convince me they are true if Gray doesn't say it first. Yeah, well, I mean, I appreciate that. I gotta tell you, it's absolutely wild. It sounds like a lot of the stuff that's in those books and documentaries and everything are not even real. It's crazy. Let's see. Bethany talked about an incident with Kaylee, who stated about a month ago she saw an unknown male. So yeah, Bethany talked about it. And God, Jesus. I inhaled something. I don't know what the hell that was. Bethany originally called 911. Hey, maybe you guys will have to call it for me in a minute. And stated her friend was passed out and would not wake up. And then Bethany talked about an incident with Kaylee, who stated about a month ago she saw an unknown male up above their house to the south, was staring at her when she took Murphy out to go potty. Yeah. So Kohberger could have been standing there, and it didn't matter who walked out that door, they would have seen the person. But, I mean, that has got to be Kohberger, right? Because look at, here's the house, right here, you guys. Let's watch this. This is the house. This is south of the house. Okay. Right there. And it says, an unknown male was up above. And that's because, if we go to this image right here, hold on, it's going to take a second to load up. Ah, jeez. I'm gonna say wait for it to respond. Let's see if it responds. Oh, there we go. See, it worked. Look it. So that's what this is right here. Right down there is the patio. So that's where Kaylee would have walked out with Murphy, and Kohberger was probably standing up here looking down there, like a crazy person, right? So look how that's up in the air and it's south. And this is exactly where we've always thought that he would go, over and over and over and over again. I think that even makes sense. So I think that one's a legitimate sighting. I mean, that's actually probably Kohberger. Bethany stated Kaylee broke up with her longtime boyfriend about 3 months ago because she was planning on moving to Texas. Bethany could not provide me with anything else at the time. All right. So we're done with that one. And let's see if we move on to the next. All right, so this one is another sort of narrative inside the house. And maybe we can try to, merge that together. But I think we have that, all the timeline basically nailed in there now. Even right from when Kaylee and Madison got home. Maddie, right? I mean, it's like they get home. They're up in the room of Kaylee's room. They're up in there, and then Dylan and Bethany call Uber because they're thinking of going to get some food over at the grub truck. And then Kaylee is likely laying in her bed at that point and is thinking of calling Jack. And then Madison goes, hey, can I take Murphy out? And maybe that's what was why she started calling, because she goes, yeah, go ahead. And right at that time, she starts calling Jack on the phone. And then Madison's outside with Murphy and Bethany, and then Bethany goes back inside because she's too cold. Probably just stayed right there in the kitchen or living room area. And then when Madison came back in, she, maybe the dog was lost for a minute, apparently, one thing, but they obviously found the dog. And then she goes up to her room. Maybe Bethany goes up with her, and that's how Bethany knows that she was watching that particular show. And then Bethany goes, I'm tired, and goes down to her own room and heads on downstairs. And then Kaylee gets out of her bed, walks into Madison's room, and then has Madison call Jack as well. And then they sort of go back and forth, all the way up to 2:52. That's crazy, right? I mean, yeah, Jack S has nothing to do with anything. Oh. All right, so this one is on November 16th, 2022, at around 11:55 a.m. I meet with Bethany Funk, as this is another Bethany Funk interview. Interview beside me and Bethany were her something and Matthew when with the Nevada State Police Investigation Division. Bethany stated the above named people were the only ones she knew had the code, and there's a whole bunch of people. Bethany stated the code for the front door was the same code from the year before. I asked Bethany what the code was, and she stated it was, and it's blacked out. Bethany stated Maddie was the only roommate who lived in the residence the year before. Bethany stated her, Dylan, and Kaylee moved in around August 3rd, 2022. Now it's weird, like Kaylee moved in around August 3rd, 2022. Isn't that wild? Like Kaylee was just barely there. I mean, she was there for 3 months. I mean, I had no idea. Bethany stated Ethan had his own apartment, but she was not sure where it was located. Bethany stated Maddie kept her same room from the year before, so Maddie was in there for a while. Maddie's room was located on the 3rd floor on the east side of, I heard this about the August not too long ago. Was located on the 3rd floor on the east side of the residence next to the bathroom. I also asked Bethany about Murphy's routine. Murphy was Kaylee's dog she had purchased when she was still dating Jack D. Bethany stated Kaylee would primarily take Murphy out, but Maddie would also help. And so there you go. That makes sense. Bethany stated they never just left the door open because he would run away, so they would have to use a leash when they took him out. Bethany stated Murphy would not bark that often and was very friendly. Bethany stated Murphy would primarily sleep in Kaylee's room, and if Kaylee was not home, he would be left in the room. Right, so I think Kaylee probably shut the door of her room when she went into Madison's room to have her start calling. Although, it seems like if Murphy was still missing, I'm sure Kaylee and Madison would have already been like, hey, where is, So I don't know what the call to Bethany at 2:53 was for, but let's see. Bethany stated Kaylee knew, I asked Bethany about her Uber driver Maddie and Kaylee used on a regular basis. Bethany stated Kaylee knew him from probably a sorority or something, who used him on a regular basis. Bethany stated they would either contact the Uber driver through the app or contacted him directly. Bethany stated the Uber driver was very friendly and was always nice to everyone, and everybody trusted him. Bethany was able to tell me the Uber driver was married and his wife had just had a baby. So, all this stuff is like, okay, he's not related. Bethany told me he drove a small car, possibly gray or black. Are you sure it wasn't lime green? But she could not tell me more about the car. Basically every car is lime green if you get the light on it just right. You know what I'm saying, you guys? There's a lot of lime green cars out there. If we just get the light on it correctly. Let's see, everybody trusted. Okay, I asked Bethany who in the house had a boyfriend. Bethany told me Xana was dating Ethan. Dylan was dating a boy named QAnon, it just says Q there, who lived in Boise and went to BSU. Maddie was dating Jake, who lived in Boise. I think he graduated the year before or something and then went up for work or something, or maybe something related to his schooling or something. Kaylee was dating Jack D, but had recently broke up with him. Kaylee was possibly hanging out with some other guy, they said M something. Bethany stated Maddie was, an M was Xana's big in the Greek system. I don't think that's Maddie. They would have said the name. Bethany stated the relationship was new and that he had never stayed over. Or is that Hunter? Wait. Kaylee, Xana's big at the Greek system. Bethany stated the relationship was new. Hunter, I'm not sure. That's kind of confusing. Bethany stated there's somebody with M was Xana's big in the Greek system. Bethany stated the relationship was new and that he had never stayed over at the house. I guess they didn't say who they were talking about. But Kaylee had stayed with him possibly, but Kaylee had stayed with him possibly more than once. Oh, this B person. I see. So it's a guy. So he was the big brother at a house. I see. So it is a guy. Yeah. Oh, is she in here? Let's see. Let me hit the... Yeah, I can't see the name on there, though, for some reason. I said over there, hey, come stop by. What's the name? Do you guys see it in there? Well, there's not many people spell their name the way she does. Oh, there it is. Olivia Gonzalez. There you go. Can't offer much, but Kaylee moved into the home in May. Okay, not August, but... Oh, a different room, I see. Maybe the reference is closer to the other roommates mentioned. Just here to say, hey. Hey, there you are. Yeah, she's a really cool person. I told her how everybody in here just thought her I guess you call it, impact statement was, I think it's one of the best ones ever made. Like in the history of court. Because it was just so perfectly delivered. And I like I said before, my favorite part was when she said, "Now sit up straight." I guess I got something to... Oh, man, that was the best. That was the best part in the world. Yeah. Also found the grub... Yeah, she went out and found everything. She found the grub truck video. I mean, the Gonzalez is right off the gate. We're just like all over the place finding stuff. And I feel like they, you know, felt like they were probably out on their own for a while because they were, it seemed like they were ahead of law enforcement on stuff. So, well, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, I didn't see her up there until just now. I was reading. I think she should be like a prosecutor or something. You know? Just get up there and just boom. Yeah. Let's see, I asked Bethany who in the house had a boyfriend. Okay, we just went... Kaylee was possibly hanging out with... You know, we went through that, and then it says the house, but Kaylee had stayed with him possibly more than once. Bethany stated Kaylee was also talking to, and some other person also stated she did not have a boyfriend, but did mention she was kind of hanging out with some K something or other, who is probably a fraternity member, but they are not serious or something. I don't know. I asked Bethany if she had ever heard of... Who knows? Bethany stated she knew of this person, and he was also a fraternity member. Bethany stated this person was a nice guy and knew Dylan. I asked Bethany if she knew a C or... I don't know, God, I hate when you just can't read names. And she stated she did not. I asked Bethany if she knew the person behind Kaylee and Maddie on the grub truck video. Bethany stated she did not know who the person was. That was Jack Showalter. I asked Bethany if she knew a guy by the name of... That's it right there. Showalter. Bethany stated she did not know him. See, what's weird about law enforcement here is... Yes. Here's the thing, everybody. Everybody thought, when the grub truck video first came out, that Jack Showalter, who we didn't know the name of, looked sketchy. Because he came in sort of after the girls, and then he stood behind them and watched. Right? So we all thought, oh my God, that guy looks pretty dicey. What happened there? And then the girls left, and he sort of was like, hey, where'd you go? And he looked like he was sort of upset that they took off. And you know, but then within a week or so, and I think this is another one, a video that the Gonzalez has got, was the video of them walking by the Kaylee, Madison, and Jack were walking on the street, and that's the famous, "What did you say to Adam? I told Adam everything." That video, that should have cleared it all up for the cops right at that moment. They should have just went, oh, okay, there you go. He's a friend of theirs. You know, and then just ask other people. They would have known that he's a friend. So that should have cleared it up immediately for them. But instead, they're still out there asking questions, and they're all just, you know. But I guess you still have to make sure. I mean, even if they're friends already, I guess it's possible somebody could turn into a lunatic in 5 minutes. But you just never know. But they should have been a hell of a lot less suspicious at that point. And that's where it seems like common sense is missing these days, even in the law enforcement realm. It's strange. I asked Bethany if, then it said, ask Bethany who paid for the Spectrum. Let's see. Yeah, so they want to know if he knew Showalter. Bethany stated she did not know him, but stated she had heard from a friend of Maddie's that her boyfriend something also that he would never want to get in a fight with Showalter as he had anger issues. Okay, here we go. I asked Bethany about who paid for the Spectrum Wi-Fi account. Bethany told me it was Kaylee who paid for the account. Bethany told me the login for the password was blank, and the Wi-Fi name was blank. Bethany stated she did not know what the actual username and login was for the account. I asked Bethany if she knew of anyone who had gotten asked to leave any of the parties thrown at the house. Bethany stated 2 guys from a fraternity house, J and H or whatever, and another guy, only she knew as some other name, got in a fight and were told to leave. Well, maybe that's why a little bit of blood somehow got onto something. Let's see. Panther Paw 9 said, let's see. Hold on a second. Said, Gray, I've given you a hard time in the past, but I want you to know that you did a very great job on this, and I have to give you my respect and kudos to you. Great job, much respect. Hey, thanks, man. Appreciate that. Or I don't know if Panther Paws is a guy or girl, but thank you, whoever you are. I don't think panthers are gender specific. What did you say to Adam? Yeah, he was the bartender. And I guess he told her everything about something. That was in the documents. I think it actually explained it. My nose is getting all plugged up again. I asked Bethany if she knew of anyone who had gotten asked to leave. Yeah, she said that. I asked Bethany about and used to live at the house but moved out. I asked Bethany who used the bedroom on the west end of the first floor. Bethany stated Kaylee and Maddie used the room as an office. Bethany stated Kaylee would use it for her work and had a computer in it. Huh. And people seem to put storage stuff in there like golf clubs. I asked Bethany if any of the girls who lived in the house had jobs. Bethany told me Maddie and Xana both worked at Mad Greek on Main Street. Bethany told me Kaylee worked for an online company and worked from home. Bethany did not, I think it was Madison and Xana worked at Mad Greek. Bethany did not know who the company was. Bethany told me Maddie also looked for an online company, but it was not the same, or worked for an online company. It says looked, though, but it was not the same company. Bethany said the company Maddie worked for was out of Boise, and during the summer, she had worked for them in their office in Boise. I asked Bethany about the drug use in the house and who used. Bethany told me Ethan and Xana both took Adderall when they drank alcohol. Bethany told me she saw Ethan and Xana both use Adderall. I mean, this is totally irrelevant, really, but it's in there. The night before the murders, Bethany told me she saw Ethan take a pill, and she saw Xana crush up a pill. I remember I remember at one time I saw this guy. I mean, this is like when I'm, 48, And I think I had a, what's that medicine you get when you had a surgery and it keeps the pain? What's that painkiller called? Like oxy, right? Like I had it, but I never use it because it doesn't make me feel good. So I was just, and he sort of like, oh, I'll get one of those, and he got one, and then he crushed it up, and then he snorted it. It was like, what the, who are these people, man? It's ridiculous. It's like crazy. Yeah, OxyContin. I don't know what the hell he was doing. I was just like, what's going on over here? It's It's just ridiculous. Let's see. I asked Bethany about the drug use in the house and who used. All right. So I asked Bethany if she had any issue from any of the other people who live around them. Bethany stated besides the 3 to 4 noise complaints they had there were no other issues. Bethany told me Kaylee would look up who the registered sex offenders who lived in the area. Bethany stated Kaylee had found a registered sex offender who lived close to them in the blue apartments on Queen. I actually looked that up right after the homicides. There's one right there, yeah. Kaylee stated he was older, in his 30s or 40s. Bethany stated Kaylee was looking at the sex offender registry within the week or so before the murders. Wow. She probably was feeling like there's somebody outside. Bethany stated Kaylee was into crime shows. Bethany stated there was nothing that happened to prompt her to look up the sex offender registry. I asked Bethany about 2 other incidents where Kaylee and Madison or mentioned some weird things, not Madison. Kaylee had mentioned some weird things had happened. Bethany told me about an incident at Winco. Yeah, so it wasn't Walmart, it was Winco, where a male had followed her around the store watching her check out and then followed her to her vehicle. Xana was waiting in the vehicle. Bethany stated Kaylee said the male was African American and in his late 20s. Bethany felt it happened sometime before Halloween, so mid to late October. Bethany stated Kaylee purchased a case of White Claws for Xana. Okay, and then Bethany and her roommates had found the door open on November 4th at around 10:57. See, this one here seems related again. So on November 4th at around 11 o'clock in the evening, so we're talking 9 days before the murders, and they entered the house and grabbed golf clubs out of the west first floor. Yeah, there was a set of golf clubs. I just mentioned that. In that bedroom there. And then Bethany and the other roommates walked around the house with the golf clubs to check the house. Kaylee was not home for this incident, as she had gone home for the weekend. Wind was blowing, and the screws on the hinges were loose, and Xana had fixed it before Xana's dad fixed it before he left that weekend. But he never installed locks or anything like that, like people say. Kaylee told everyone about an incident where she saw a male watching her when she had taken Murphy out back to go to the bathroom. God, what did she say? Did she write that down? Bethany could not remember when this happened, but she could not provide an actual day. Bethany stated she had been at a chapter meeting at the time Kaylee called them, asking them if they were going to be home soon. Oh, so was she home by herself or I don't know. The following is a timeline of events of November 12th, 2022 to November 13th, 2022. Bethany stated, do you guys like going through this? Yeah, so make sure if you're out there and if you have the ability to help support the Grant Hughes Investigates YouTube channel, I'd appreciate it. I think we've donated $2,500 so far to the, combination of Ethan Smile and the other one, the charity for the 3 girls. I don't remember the name of it, but that's one of the places that we've sent funds to. So if you're out there and you have the ability to help support the channel, that would be great. See, look at this is what I'm telling you about. See this right here, you guys? Does that look like normal? There's a little Bart Simpson haircut there. That's just crazy. That's just that's the viewers. Remember how a minute ago it was 3,000, but there isn't. Yeah, this is one of the longer documents here. The following is a timeline of events of November 12, 2022 to November 13, 2022. Bethany stated she was the last one in the house to wake up, and when she got up, Ethan was in the house, in the living room, and Kaylee, Dylan, Maddie, and Xana were all gone. So that was in the morning, I guess. Bethany felt she got up somewhere between 10 and 11 in the morning. Bethany stated she checked her Find My Friends app and saw they were at Taco Bell at the time. Once Kaylee, Dylan, Maddie, and Xana got back, they started getting ready for the day. Kaylee, Dylan, Maddie, and Bethany were in Kaylee's room, and they were getting ready for a party at an address on Taylor Street. The Whites, they call it. The house belonged to some person, and let's see. The apartment is located on the second floor of the far east side of the apartment building. Bethany stated this was between 11 and 12 in the afternoon. Bethany stated Kaylee left the Whites before the rest of the group. Bethany stated she left at around 2 p.m. with Maddie, Dylan, Xana, and Ethan. Then they have all these different names in there. Hunter Johnson, it looks like. Bethany stated she started drinking at around 11:30 or 12 when still at 1122 King Road. Bethany stated she was drinking mimosas and high noons throughout the night. Bethany also stated she also played a drinking game called Rage Cage later in the night. Bethany felt she drank a 12-pack of high noons during the night. 2 mimosas in a standard wine glass. Wow. So she was hammered. I mean, Bethany was unsure of what she had been drinking when she played Rage Cage. So she had like a 12-pack, 2 mimosas, and who knows, she says, what she drank when she played Rage Cage. Bethany stated she was at the Whites up until around 3:48 when she left with Xana. Maddie, and then it says Maddie, Kaylee, and Dylan stayed at the Whites. Ethan had left before her and Xana. Bethany and Xana went to some other place somewhere on Taylor Avenue. And then something in Xana left there at around 4:51. What do you mean around 4:51? That sounds like a precise time. And went back to 1122 King Road. Bethany, Xana, Maddie, Kaylee, and Dylan were all at the house and made food. Ethan was not in the house during this time. At around 6 o'clock in the evening, Bethany, Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee, and Dylan all went to take a nap, and they all set alarms for 8 o'clock in the evening. Bethany got up at 8 o'clock. This is a pretty, like a cool narrative, right? Yeah, she'll definitely, whatever she does, she'll... Bethany stated she was at the Whites up until, well, we already were there, right? Where was this at? Walked home at around, all right. Once they all woke up, they got ready to go. Yeah, so it was, right. And then once they all woke up, they got ready to go for a house party. So I think Sigma Chi for a house party. Maddie and Bethany left first to go to an apartment at around 9 o'clock. Kaylee stayed home and was not going to go to a party. And then Ethan and Xana came over to the party after Bethany and Maddie. Dylan did not come with the rest and walked over at a later time. Maddie was not there for very long, and she went back to the house to go to the club with Kaylee. Bethany felt Maddie left sometime after 9:09. How do you have these exact times, you know? Sometime after 9:09? I mean, one of Bethany's friends got to the place or whatever and hung out with her. Bethany stayed something why you showed up at around 10. They stayed in one of the apartments for a little longer, and you went up to the main house for the fraternity party. Bethany stated this might have been around 10:30 to 10:45. Bethany states he hung out in the main part of the house for a while, and before she left, I think they meant to say she up here. Bethany stated she hung out in the main part of the house for a while, and before she left the Sigma Chi fraternity, she saw Ethan and Xana in some apartment, and stated this was around 12:17 a.m. Bethany and you, or Y is the first name, went to a house again on Taylor. Bethany stated her were the only one at the house. I don't know. Oh, these 4 different people. Bethany stated she walked home at around 1 a.m. and Dylan and some other people were the only ones in the house. So Dylan, remember, and then those 2 friends that Dylan was with were the only ones at the house. Bethany, Dylan, and somebody with the name L were watching Vampire Diaries for a while at around 1:22 hours. I say it's weird how you have these specific exact times, 1:22 hours. L left. Dylan went to her room after L left. At around 2 o'clock hours, Kaylee and Maddie came home. It was probably like around 1:50 something. I think I have it in here. Yeah, so let's see. Kaylee and Madison are dropped off at 1:56, right there. All right, you guys are having one of those massive lulls in here. So if you're watching this channel and you want to help support the channel, I would appreciate the support. We could use some more. If we can get 4 more channel memberships, we'll be right at a nice solid number of 40 that were gifted tonight. 36 just sounds kind of weird, doesn't it? Caleb was getting ready for bed. Where was the vampire? Yeah, Vampire Diaries. Dylan went to her room after Elle left at around 2 o'clock hours. Kaylee and Maddie came home at 1:56. Maddie, Kaylee, Elle, and Bethany went up to, or Dylan. So there it is. See, there it is. Maddie, Kaylee, Dylan, and Bethany. So the other one only said Bethany, Kaylee, and Madison, but we all knew already that Dylan. So now we have them all 4 again. Went up to Kaylee's bedroom once they got home. Kaylee was getting ready for bed. There you go. See? As they were hanging out in her room. Bethany, Maddie, and Dylan went downstairs, and Maddie and Bethany took Murphy. I just told you that, right? Using common sense. That's crazy. Kaylee was getting ready for bed, and they were hanging out in the room. Then Bethany, Maddie, and Dylan went downstairs, and Maddie and Bethany took Murphy outside to let him go to the bathroom. Bethany only stayed outside for a short time, and she then went back into the house and put something away in her cupboard and grabbed a bag of chips. See, right there on the second floor, I told you. Bethany went down. Oh, she did go down the stairs, though. She went downstairs to go to bed. Then Bethany stated, well, see, that's weird, though. So how does she know? I guess that's the thing, is there must be something she's missing, because how do you know that? Does anybody know that Madison at a particular time was watching a particular show upstairs? Because the only 2 witnesses that likely were up there are not alive at this point. Look at that, Dixie Hippies. See, they're trying to go for a $2 holler. Nobody seems to be picking up when I say something, so maybe if somebody else gives it a shot. So Dixie Hippie is giving you a shot, 1965. Good year there. Bethany stated, nothing was unusual about Maddie and Bethany's demeanor when they got home. Bethany stated they both appeared to be happy. Bethany said Maddie was highly intoxicated. Right. That's what I said too on the grub truck. It looked like Kaylee was less intoxicated. And she had not seen her at that level of intoxication for a very long time. Yeah, see, that just made it much worse of a night for this to have happened. Bethany said when she went to bed, she was using her iPad to watch a TV show off of Hulu. Bethany, she said, was watching Baby Daddy. Okay, was that just an error then in that other document? Because it sounded like Maddie was watching Baby Daddy. So maybe that was just an error in the previous document. See? Isn't that crazy, you guys? So you know something doesn't sound right when you're looking at it. And that's why it didn't make sense. How would anybody know what Maddie was watching? That would mean that Bethany would have had to follow her up there and had to make that part of the story. But that's not part of it. And so let's see, did I put that up in here? Madison and Bethany take Murphy to go pee. Bethany, Murphy, and then Madison is in bed watching Baby. So that's not right. So Madison, we don't know what Madison was doing. I'm going to get rid of this here. I mean, I could just switch that to Bethany. Yeah, we know that, but in another document, it doesn't say that. Pa amor. I've explained it already. You don't need to tell us. We get it. In another document, it tells us that Madison, as a matter of fact, let me go up and, so where are we at? We're on page 5. Let me type it in. All right, right here. That's not it. Now we're on page. Was that in a different document than this one? I'm pretty sure. I think it was in the same document. No, it was in the previous one, wasn't it? Okay, hold on a second. Thanks, Scott. Notice BK eyes during Olivia. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, Olivia is like, I think, a hero to everybody that was following this case that knew Kohberger was the killer. Because she did exactly what just, it was so great. I don't even think she knows how great it really was, to be honest with you. She doesn't even know. Let's see. I'm going to open up the previous one that was also Bethany here. Where is that? It's in this one, right? They all watched the movie together. Maddie and Kaylee. There it is, right there. Okay, Bethany did not stay outside for very long as it was cold. Maddie then went to bed and watched a TV show to help her sleep, Baby Daddy. See that? It says right there. That didn't make sense when we read it, and now we know why, because that isn't how it went. See, it's right here. I love when there's an actual answer for something that sounded weird, you know. So it's right there. She said she was watching. Now it says Bethany. She said, okay, let me start the sentence. Bethany said when she went to bed, she was using her iPad to watch a TV show off of Hulu. Bethany, I'm not sure why her name's up in there again. Bethany, she said, was watching Baby Daddy, but that's her. So she said she was watching, you know. Bethany could not remember what episode she was watching or how long she was watching.
as she was watching the show, Maddie came downstairs and asked if she had Murphy. Okay, so that sort of makes more sense now. So this must have been before 244 though. Now let me see, what do we got in here now? Madison and Bethany take Murphy outside to go pee. Bethany is cold and goes inside. Murphy, who's briefly lost, is found. Then I think I would Murphy. Let's see. Maddie asks, goes inside and asks Bethany where Murphy is. And then at 2:40, well, she's already watching, I guess. So it's got to be somewhere around this time. I'll just put like 2:36. You could probably flip these two around. And then obviously, I think you could probably put in here that Murphy was found, right? I mean, obviously Murphy was found before. Put a 1 if you agree that Murphy was found before Kaylee and Madison started calling Jack. I mean, it just feels like that has to be. There's no way you would just go, hey, forget Murphy. Let's go ahead and 240. We'll just say like Murphy is found. Somewhere in there. You guys must be so far behind. What's my camera doing? Oh. It says it's touching my belly. I can't tell what my camera's doing. Oh, I'm not nude, you guys. I do have shorts on. Look. That's crazy. I hate this camera. It like looks up at my... It follows me around the room, too, if I go like this. I know, you're getting a crotch shot. That's crazy. Oh yeah, I do have a belly for sure. It's not too bad though. It's been worse. Extra thin. No, I'm looking kind of chubby at this point. Let's see. What was to bed of Kaylee? Gray was more concerned on the truth than... Yeah, I don't know what the camera does. It just sort of moves around. I think I'm going to get rid of this thing. I don't like how it just kind of has an eye of its own. Yeah, like as a gimbal. It's stupid though. I want to be able to lock it. Because imagine if you're like on court TV. Yeah, doesn't that deserve a super chat, you guys? That was super chat worthy. Oh, that's funny. Yeah. It was weird too because my shorts are skin color, so I was thinking, man, that looks like I'm naked or something. Yeah, it just does its own thing. I don't like it. You wouldn't want to be on court TV and right in the middle of your sentence it shoots off the edge of the world, Yeah. I don't know, it's bizarre. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of expensive, not too bad, but I don't know, I don't really... I want to be able to lock it where I want it. Oh, Lord, where's my pants? I do have pants. They're shorts. They're, but yeah, my belly, I'm sitting here and it's like, ugh. That's why I walk around a lot. Because, when you're sitting here, you're doing your show, you're not moving too much. That thing, one time it slapped me basically and threw it to the other side of the house. Are you talking about the, you have one of these too? It's crazy. Basketball? What do you mean basketball? I don't know what that means.
Oh, I just ate food. Is that what you're saying? I don't know what you mean by basketball. Especially if you price. Yeah. Well, I'm not half dressed. I have khaki shorts on, but they get bunched up when I sit here sometimes. I do have pants on. They're just khaki shorts that were just their... Man, you guys suck. Yeah. Yeah. Ran a battery, I think, and just started watching me. Oh, really? Yeah, it's really weird, you know? Like, I don't know if I have to move it over here or what, but it's like as soon as it loses your face, it just kind of does what it wants, I guess. Something like that. D. Rich said, not overly important to the case, but shows that a good guy he was being Ethan Moscow Police Department body camera of him pulled over. Oh yeah, I remember that one. That was pretty good. Yeah, when he got pulled over, I saw one. What's weird is that people look up stuff like that, though. Like, why do you care that Ethan was pulled over at some point in January of 2022? What does that have to do with anything? Who's he? Marek? Yes, he is control that gimbal, not the human being. Yeah, the gimbal is, right. Yeah, it's just not sure what it's doing. But thanks for letting me know. So you guys weren't just looking at my bunched up shorts for 20 minutes. Thanks, Pamela. Jeez. Yeah, no, I did. There was a body... He got pulled over and... They let him go too. You know, I think they probably, I don't know, probably had a beer or two somewhere, but yeah, they let him go. He just seemed like a normal dude, you know. What do you mean? Where did you just hear about that, Blue 3? Where would you have been where you just heard about that? Let me guess, on the troll place, the troll area. Well, the way I'm sitting, it's more scrunched up my stomach, you know. But yeah, I mean, I definitely have work to do. I've been trying. Yeah. I think they just gave away they came from the troll channel. Let's go ahead and block Blue 3CH. All right. I mean, where would you have been where you would hear that and then come running in? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty good. Maybe black sweatpants next stream. No thanks. Why do I need black sweatpants? I don't get it. Compressing the episodes down into time touching whatever important facts you discover might help from I don't know what you're talking about, man. Yeah. Run contests with swag, etc. Yeah, we used to do it, you know. We used to give away notebooks and whatnot, but nobody buys notebooks anymore, and it's just, everything's different. I actually sell notebooks for $30. You get a notebook. It comes with a pen. You get a stress ball and like a GHI poker chip. Oh, I had lizard eyes with my... Well, thanks, Carm. Yeah, I don't need to wear... I just got a haircut, too, so... I don't... You know, my hair's pretty short. I'll probably not wear a visor every single time, I guess. Maybe it'll follow me better if it's like that. I'm kind of nervous. I got to get rid of this thing. I'm gonna get the same resolution camera, but I need one that's still... Yeah, wouldn't that be great to hear that call to his parents? I'm sure that was never recorded anywhere. Yeah, do you guys block that one account? There's no way somebody would just have come over. Yeah, see you later. Waiting for the notebook. Oh, wait, did you order? When did you order one? Let me see. I don't have your name on there. Were you supposed to get one, Pamela? Or did I send you one? It just never made it. Send me your address again. I'll try to send it. Yeah, they should have got more out of Kohberger. Anyways, I wanted to get through this here. I'm kind of nervous to read it. I'll just turn off my picture of my face. I don't know what the camera's going to do anymore. I guess all the mods took off. I don't know what happened. I wanted you guys to get rid of that one account, Blue 3 Channel, whatever the hell their name is, because they obviously came from a troll place. Bethany tried calling Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan's phone. Let's see. I think I was up here. We were about the part where Bethany said her door was locked and she normally locks her door when she goes to bed. Bethany told me she eventually turned off the show and her iPad and went to sleep. Bethany said she woke up after... but anyways, Maddie went downstairs and asked if she had Murphy with her because she could not find him. Bethany told her no. Bethany said her door was locked and she normally locks her door when she goes to bed. Bethany told me she eventually turned off the show and her iPad and went to sleep. Bethany said she woke up after falling asleep to hearing what she felt was a firecracker go off, and she thought she saw a sparkler going off through the crack under her door. I mean, you know. The other time it was a loud boom. Bethany stated she did not know what happened. Either Bethany called Dylan or Dylan called Bethany, but the records show that Bethany called Dylan. And that was when the loud thud happened. And Dylan stated she thought she had just seen someone dressed in all black in the house. Bethany said Xana had been wearing all black. Hey, we're getting to hear that part. Had been wearing all black earlier, and Dylan responded by saying she thought he had a ski mask on. Bethany said she didn't really know what to say to what Dylan said. Bethany admitted both her and Dylan get scared easy. Bethany even thought maybe one of Ethan's frat brothers could have been playing a joke. Bethany told Dylan to come down to her room, and Dylan ran down to her room. Huh. I mean, that's so much more context. Doesn't that just sound better than the way that they worded it before? Bethany tried calling Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan's phones, and nobody answered. Bethany said it was normal for Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan not to answer if they were sleeping if she called late at night. Bethany looked at her phone, and it showed Bethany called Dylan, yeah, right, at 4:19, right, exactly. And at 4:20, Dylan called Bethany back. That's what we've already shown that, right? It's right here. See, at 4:19 and 7 seconds, Bethany calls Dylan, and then at 4:20, Dylan called Xana, but then at 4:20 and 28 seconds, Dylan Mortensen calls Bethany Funk. Bethany could not recall if it was during this call where Dylan was talking about seeing someone in black walking in the house. Once Bethany and Dylan were in, and I don't think Dylan would have answered the phone when Bethany called if Kohberger was still in the house. Once Bethany and Dylan were in the bedroom together, they continued to talk about what they had heard and saw. Bethany told me Dylan said the male in black was walking out the back door and they had made eye contact with each other. Well, that's what she thinks, but who knows, I guess. Bethany said Dylan said the male was white with a big nose. Ah, wow. See, this is this is before Kohberger was arrested. How come that was never put in there? Right? This was an interview done on November 16th. I mean, that's crazy, right? How come that was never put into the document? I mean, that's huge, because Kohberger's nose is freaking massive. Let's see, Xana Snap. Okay, I think we're up here. No, we're down here. House and came through the front door, went up to the stairs. Okay, he told me after trying to... shit. Okay. Dylan said the male was white with a big nose and that he was possibly holding a small vacuum type object. Wow. That's amazing, man. I wish I had... I don't know why I didn't see this document the other day, but Bethany and Dylan did not call 911 at the time because Bethany thought Dylan was imagining what she was talking about. Bethany stated both her and Dylan were both still drunk and they were very groggy. Bethany told me prior to hearing the firecracker, she thought she heard Murphy bark. Hey everybody, Lisa Valenzuela is showing an emoji, big and then nose, right? We didn't get a snacks, I don't know what that means. So now you're trying to find something positive, Holly, about Kohberger, is that what you're doing? This might be the source of the rumored friction between Bethany and Dylan. Why? Why is that the source of that? I don't get it. It sounds exactly so it says, Bethany said Dylan said the male was white with a big nose, but there's no eyebrows mentioned here, but she mentions the eyebrows way early, like the next day or something, and that he was possibly holding a small vacuum type object. Bethany and Dylan did not call 911 at the time because Bethany thought Dylan was imagining what she was talking about. Bethany stated both her... Bethany just sort of woke up on the thud sound. She was asleep during this whole thing. She didn't get woken up or anything. Yeah, I think it's just misplaced memory. I don't believe that there was sparkly stuff coming from out of the door. Bethany told me prior to hearing the firecracker, she thought she heard Murphy bark. She also heard what she thought was the beer pong table moving and cups falling. The beer pong table was located in the living room, which is above Bethany's bedroom. Bethany stated she was not sure what the sequence of events. She also heard what she thought was the beer pong table moving and cups falling. That's crazy. I mean, so that would mean that maybe Xana went running that way first, hit that table, and then ran to her room. You know what I mean? Like she ran down the stairs, but went towards the beer pong table first, and then cut over to her room. The beer pong table was located in the living room, which is above Bethany's bedroom. Bethany stated she was not sure what the sequence of events were
for sure, but she knows she heard Murphy bark, the beer pong table, and the firecrackers first before she called Dylan. Let's see. Before she called Dylan to see if she had heard the same thing. Bethany told me she tried calling Xana. Wow, that's weird. So let me see that. Bethany stated she was not sure what the sequence of events were for sure, but she knows she heard Murphy bark, the beer pong table, and then the firecracker first. I don't know. Bethany told me she tried calling Xana and Maddie. I think she was just so drunk, and like she got woken up to a sound, and some of it's just sort of stuff. It's not real, you know. The firecracker first before she called Dylan to see if she had heard the same thing. Bethany told me she tried calling Xana and Maddie at 4:21, and they then tried calling Ethan at 4:22. Bethany stated she tried calling Maddie, Kaylee, and Xana several more times once Dylan got into her room. Bethany told me when she went to bed, she remembered most of the lights being left on inside the house. Yeah, and that's exactly what somebody else said. Some witness that was out there said that all the lights were on. Bethany told me after trying to... Oh, no, the DoorDash driver, I think, said that. Bethany told me after trying to contact the other roommates, she fell back to sleep and then woke up at around 7:30 and tried calling her dad about her tooth with no answer, and then called her mom at 8:02, and she answered and asked, eventually took Advil for her tooth. Bethany then, so she's just calling home. They didn't think anything was going on. Bethany then fell back to sleep. Bethany says Bethany woke up at around 11 and noticed no one else in the house was up. Bethany stated she knew this because Xana's Snapchat location was not on, and it should have been. Bethany and Dylan got scared because they should have been up. Bethany then called her friend, and that must be Julie, or Josie, I guess, and told her she and Dylan were scared and asked if she could come and get them. Dylan then called Emily and asked her to come over. Dylan and Bethany knew Emily was with Hunter, so they knew he would come over with her. Hunter arrived at the house and came through the front door. Hunter went up the stairs first, and when she and Dylan went up the stairs, Hunter turned around and told Dylan and Bethany to get out of the house and to call for help. Bethany stated she could see Xana on the floor of her bedroom. Oh, yeah. So that's now he's opened the whole door. Bethany said Xana was wearing underwear and a sweatshirt. Bethany stated the door was partially open, but stated the door should normally would be closed. Bethany called 911 and was trying to talk to the dispatcher, but was having a hard time. So I guess the door was still partially open, and you could still see Xana on the floor, and that corroborates the fact that Dylan saw Xana. You know, it almost sounds like it was totally light in that house during this. I mean, this is just weird. Would pass out. Was having a hard time. Let's see. See Xana on the floor of her bedroom. Bethany said Xana was wearing underwear and a sweatshirt. Bethany stated the door was partially open, but stated the door should normally would be closed. Bethany called 911 and was trying to talk to the dispatcher, but was having a hard time talking. Bethany had to give the phone to her friend, as actually Dylan got it next, so she could talk to the dispatcher. I asked Bethany if she had ever seen Xana on the floor like she did that morning. Bethany told me she was never seen this, but had heard Xana would pass out on the floor in the past when she is highly intoxicated. Bethany told me Hunter went back into the house. Bethany could not remember if Josie and Emily went into the kitchen.
in the house. Bethany told me she believed Hunter grabbed a knife from the kitchen when he went back into the house. Bethany stated the police arrived as he was still on the phone and she disconnected with dispatch. Bethany did not provide any further information related to this incident. Alright, so you got that. That was pretty, got a lot of stuff in that one. Alright, let's see, this is a shorter one here. Man, you guys sure didn't tip me very much for my tan short crotch shot. Thanks a lot, guys. Jesus. On November 14th, 2022, at around 5:10, I contacted somebody in front of the lobby of the police department and contacted Moscow PD. I asked how he knew Kaylee and Maddie. He said he drives for Uber, so here's the Uber driver. And Lyft and Kaylee and Maddie have become some of his regular customers. So this is the person that they called. He stated he was contacted by Kaylee on 11/12/2022 at around 10:02 hours and asked if he could pick her up and some friends up at 1122 King Road and take them to the Corner Club. He arrived at the address at 10:15 or 8:15 hours, I guess, and picked up Kaylee, Maddie, and another female. He stated at 1:45 a.m. hours at 11/13/2022 he was contacted by Kaylee again. That's when they were at the grub truck, and asked him if he could pick her up and some friends up at the grub truck. He arrived at the grub truck at around 1:49 hours, took Kaylee and Maddie home. He stated it was 3 to 4 minute drive from the grub truck to 1122 King Road. Still no tips. Wow. He told me he had been driving for Uber and Lyft since 2019. He told me Kaylee had been a regular for at least the last year. He said he was working, but Kaylee did not contact him through the Uber or Lyft app, but instead texted him directly both times. He stated when he got to the grub truck, he parked in front of the grub truck on Main Street facing south. That's exactly what we were thinking. Texted Kaylee he was there, and she stated they would be there in a second, and said they were at order 75 and theirs was 78. Kaylee and Maddie came to the vehicle a short time later. Kaylee was in the front passenger seat and Maddie was in the rear seat. Maddie was eating I could just see her doing that. Maddie was eating the food from grub truck with her hands. They all had a casual conversation, stated they appeared to be fine and nothing appeared to be out of the ordinary. He stated he still had the text on his phone and he sent screenshots to me. I burned those screenshots to a DVD and booked it into property at a later time, along with other documents I had related to this case. I was not able to give me more information at this time. So that's it. Yeah, hey, there you go. Thanks, Jenny. Yeah, the camera panned down, and I'm wearing these like light khaki shorts, and it's all bunched up, and the camera panned down and was, I don't know, I mean, it's got this stupid gimbal on it. Now I have it turned off. I'm going to have to look up how to fix it, but I hope I didn't miss the private day. Nope, you didn't miss anything. Got to see my little bit of a belly, beer belly. Definitely not a bowling ball, though. I can tell you that. I know, I should sue that damn gimbal.
I should. I mean, that would actually be, it's like, what the hell's this thing doing? It just has a mind of its own. All right, so that was interesting, right? Now we got to hear all the information from that Uber driver. On February 22nd, 2023, I was listening to the tip line phone calls, and a tip from somebody came in from Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania, was left on February 16th at 6:49 hours. In the tip, it stated her brother used to be friends with Brian Kohberger when they were in high school. This person stated she felt it would be in our best interest to talk to him about Brian. I'm not sure why you had to block out Brian's name. I called this person, and she confirmed her brother, S, and R were friends with Brian in high school, and Brian had been in her mother's house during that time period. I was not sure if it would be very helpful for us to talk to R, but wanted us to know about this. I asked Jay if her brother S would talk to us as well. Jay told me she was not sure, but would reach out to him and see if he would call us. I was able to locate info on Jay on TLO. I used this info to find info on S and R. I will provide this information to Corporal Payne so it can be provided to the FBI in Pennsylvania so they can reach out. Okay, well, nothing there. Then I had do you want me to keep going through I got 3 more that I was going to go through. None of them they're not extremely long or anything, but these are all incidents. And maybe they're you could marry them up with what Kaylee said she saw. I'll join the wave for a Miss Private Dance. That's what Zozo always says. Hey! Are there documents interviewing the TA who worked with Brian and who had her? There is a mention of her. I did bring that up at one. It was in one of these. It's in one of the documents. I think I actually need to go through each document and put it into a spreadsheet with keywords to look up, We're in longer than your shorts. We're in long. I don't know what that means. Yeah, but I noticed the support for the channel dropped off dramatically after that. That's not a good feeling. On November 11th, 2022, at around 2:27 hours, I conducted an interview on some Moscow Police Department. Jay told me she lives on Taylor Avenue. These apartments are referred to as the Whites. Jay stated she went to 1122 King Road in the afternoon of 11/12/2022 and was hanging out with Xana. Jay stated they all went to the Whites at around 1 o'clock hours for different parties. Jay felt she got Xana's house at around... Okay, what incident is this? I vote for the sweats. What am I going to do with the sweats? Why do you want me to wear sweats? I mean, I'm just here. These are what I wear. These khaki shorts I wear on my walks because they can hold my phone and my earbuds, and I just go walking around. Sweatpants, Jesus, that's I vote for sweat. Sure. Whatever floats your boat. Let's see. Asking for the Snapchat. Kaylee, Maddie, and Ethan told me she feels she last saw Xana and Ethan around 3 o'clock. Told me she knows Xana and Ethan do like to use Adderall when they drink, but they did not know
who they got it from or if they took any. Not sure why this one got into this folder. I think I might have clicked on the wrong one. Because it says incident, and I don't think there was one there. Reference a suspicious occurrence. She had remembered 1122 King Road. I called Kaylee. Not Kaylee. I called whatever. I don't know what the name is there. Kaylee Gonzalez had planned a party for at 1122 King Road that evening. Stated several people, to include Gonzalez, and were on the back patio during the party. Gonzalez's dog Murphy was also present. This person stated that Murphy ran up into the bushes behind the house on several occasions and would not return when called. Stated they called Murphy numerous times before. What if Kohberger was up there feeding the dog? Yeah, that's kind of interesting, right? What if he was up there giving the dog treats so that... oh, sweatpants are better? Oh, okay. It's like the Jordan of YouTube Prime. Hey, thanks, Aphrodite. Yeah, I don't get treated that way, you know. Ethan told, I mean, that was sort of interesting. What if he was feeding the dog so it was comfortable with him up there sometimes? Yeah. So it says, on several occasions and would not return when called. Kay stated they called Murphy numerous times before he would come back. Kaylee told me the group eventually went inside and shut the door. This was the only occurrence Kay was present for, but told me he remembered more similar occasions. A different person did. E remembered more similar occasions. I called E on January 19, 2023, referenced these occurrences. E also related the occasion on her birthday and added that it was unlike Murphy to not immediately return home when called, which is the reason she and Gonzalez were concerned about someone being behind the house when Murphy would behave in this manner. God, that's crazy. Was he feeding the... E told me about another occasion on 10/29/2022, during which she was at 1122 King Road for a Halloween party. E told me Madison, Kaylee, and Kernodle and Chapin were all Ethan Chapin were all present at the party. During the party, Ethan stated the group gathered on the back patio once again, and Murphy began to run into the wood line behind the house and not come back. Ethan told me they heard noises too. She described these noises as similar to what it would sound like if someone was moving through the woods on foot. Wow, was he back there this whole time? I might have to make a video on this one. This one's crazy. He was moving through the woods on foot, because then when he was in the house, it might not have freaked out Murphy if he was sort of familiar with him. This occasion took place midday. You know, that is midday though. And they did not see anyone behind the house. However, Murphy's behavior and the noises caused to go inside and close the door. I mean, that's pretty crazy to go inside. Yeah, be so freaked out by noises during the day that you go back inside, right? The last occasion E remembered took place at approximately 2 weeks prior to the homicides. E was unsure of the date. E stated Murphy displayed similar behavior of running into the woods and not coming back when called. E also recalled on an occurrence during this time frame, exact date unknown, wherein she and Gonzalez returned to 1122 King Road and found the rear sliding door standing open and Murphy was missing. E stated they had to go out and look for Murphy after they found the door open. I asked E if if it was common for people who didn't live at 1122 King Road to walk in when no one was home. E stated it was not uncommon, and added members of fraternity and several friends of the females who lived there would come and go at will. I thanked E for her time and concluded our interview after advising her to call me if she remembered anything new. It's pretty crazy. And then we had the now we already went over this one, the well-worn path one, the 0.13 miles with this guy walking around. I thought that one was pretty interesting, but there you go. I think that's it. Basketball discussion tonight again? No, not doing basketball, but who the hell are you anyways? Never seen you before, Ace. Are you another troll? Never seen you in my life. Murphy knew something was up back there. Could BK have been? I just said that. Wouldn't that be crazy? No, but he couldn't have been there at that time. Because Kohberger was still in Pullman until like 1:54 or 2:54 is when his phone turned off in Pullman, and Murphy was already inside and everybody was in bed at that time. So no, he was not there. Yeah. Let's see. Well-worn path. I missed that one. Ah, shit. I'll read it. Yeah, if you send some more super chats, we'll read this last one. We're getting close to 3.5 hours, and it died down in here. On March 4th, 2023, called MPD tip line and left a voicemail regarding a tip for this case in which she described seeing a man walk by her house sometime during August or September of 2022. Sergeant Blaker sent me the tip on March 15, 2023. I spoke to T via phone on March 21st, 2023. I did not record our conversation. I asked T to relay to me what her tip was in reference to. T told me she used to live at a house. This home is located approximately 0.13 miles due east of 1122 King Road. T told me she was home one day in August or September of 2022 when her daughter came running into the house saying there was a man walking through their yard. T stated she looked out the window and saw a man who looked nervous walking on the south side of her house from east to west. T told me she frequently saw people walk by the house but not in that particular area. T said the man had curly hair with a large nose. I mean, Kohberger sort of had hair like that. And he walked by without saying anything. T stated the encounter became stranger when the same man walked by the house in the opposite direction but taking the same route approximately 15 minutes later. T said she stepped outside and yelled to the man. He was on private property, said the man didn't look at her and simply walked away. T then told me, unprompted, that she believed the male she saw was Kohberger after she saw a side profile picture of him on the news after his arrest. T stated she was 92% sure it was Kohberger. T stated she did not see the man any other times after the occurrence in August or September. However, T told me there was another occurrence in June or July of 2022 when a white sedan was parked near her mailbox. Well, Kohberger drove a white sedan for over an hour. It should be noted that street is a dead-end road with only residences, and T told me the vehicle left after her neighbor walked out to ask the man if he needed help. T could not
positively say what type of vehicle she saw that day. T was not able to provide any further specific details about dates. On March 22nd, 2023, Sergeant Blaker and I went to the area where T said she saw the man. There is a well-worn path from Boyd Avenue through to Blake Avenue, which is likely where T saw the man. In addition, I spoke to the neighbor who spoke to the man in the white car, identified only as blank, who stated he remembered the encounter but could not add any further information. And so what they're talking about is right here on this street, Blake Avenue. And look how close this is to 500. So it's right here. So apparently the person was walking a path like kind of over like this. And then we went down the street view here. And you can go down to, like basically right here I thought was a good spot. And then he may have just went like right through there and just stepped up. See how that's like a bank and you just step right up there? And guess where that is? See, that's right here on Linda Lane. And then from Linda Lane you just walk right up here and you go, there's this little spot right there where you walk down and then you walk right behind the residence and then you're at 1122 King Road. Isn't that wild? I mean, that sounds like they saw, that's absolutely related right there. I mean, look at this. It's right here. Just right in this area, inside the entire loop area. So what do you think of that? Gray, this is the part where I have no comment. I don't know what that means. I walked through a lot of yards. Gray, I agree. Almost like a bank robber, he was looking at places and areas he could run to within those some OJ shit right there. I don't know what that means either. Well, anyways, there you go, everybody. There you go. Let's see. So thank you out there to Juju Bean, Cinnamon Sin Freak, Chicken Wing 19, Linda Howe 1787. Lisa Valenzuela got me a coffee. I think that was the only one tonight. That's kind of sad. Wow, not one. That was it. Yeah, so Cinnamon Sin Freak, Chicken Wing, Linda Howe, Richard Watts, Megan Bailey, Christy B57, it's Amy Darcy Marie, Courtney 9438, Alley Cake, Scott Sister 8858, Alley Cake, Soundgarden fan, Kira Say, Laura Ann, then Gracie Ann, and then Laura Ann again, gifted a membership, then Dirt Bike Pastrana, Gracie Ann, Alley Cake, then Laura Ann again, and then Pamela, Super Boom Shadow, Lexi Staff, Tracy Antique 4666, Curasay, Jake 6942, Brooklyn Knight, D Rich 83rd. Man, these names are just ridiculous. D Rich 83rd again, and that's what Lee said. A Crying Shame. CRR gifted 10 memberships, then A Crying Shame gifted 1, then Dirt Bike Pastrana gifted 5, then D Rich 83rd, then we have Megan Bailey gifted a membership, then CRR gifted 5 more, very kind, and then that's like 15, and then Ralph David Then I gifted 5. Then A Crying Shame. Van Dan Dale. Dixie Hippie. Lisa V. And then Scott TG. And then right when the camera panned down, that's when it all went off the cliff. Christy Q 282, then Dirtbike Pastrana, D Rich, then Christy Q 282, Jenny from the Talk, Trey Joseph, Sandy Shirley, Mike and Miles, Dixie Hippie, and A Crying Shame. There you go. There you go. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Appreciate it. Hope I didn't freak you guys out too much. At least I was wearing my khaki shorts. You know, imagine if I was like wearing underwear or something. That's crazy, man. Yep. So, anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the show tonight. Thanks for being here. All right. So, thanks for being here. We'll see you guys tomorrow, all right? So, until next time, be safe out there. However I turn it off. Now, what's the nickname, Juju Bean? What is it?
Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, flag rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Greg is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temple fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work.
That's stupid, Juju Bean, because that's not what I did. That sounds like a stupid nickname. Why would you say that? I didn't do a Tubin. I just have my regular shorts on. I mean, you know, that's kind of stupid. Yeah, but what is that? That's not related, though, Juju Bean. Yeah, Tubin was caught playing with himself on a Zoom when he was supposed to be meeting with colleagues. All right, that's a kind of a stupid comparison. You know, to be honest with you, kind of embarrassing that you would even say that. All right, anyways, thanks everybody. We'll see you later, and be safe.